heat number 1 for the Flying Tigers on the Speedway. Set to bring you the call. Here's Steve Hayes.
Finally, or I should say first event in Fall Foliage Weekend, a final weekend of racing here at Airborne for the 94 campaign. Sitting out the pole of the 81, Mike Nass. To the outside, the round number 3 of Awesome Andy Haywood. Round 2, Brian Bushy and Moon Miller in row 2. Ernie Holmes, Wild Billy Barcombe, row 3. Jeremy Colston and the 11 machine of Lanny Cunningham round out the 8-car field. Up front, Haywood takes the early lead. Several automobiles here we have not seen in the past or have seen very rarely. Thunder Road has closed. They all make their way over here for a final try of 94. These automobiles attempting to qualify for a flying Triple Crown 50-lap main event a little bit later in this program. You'll see highlights of. Haywood, your leader. Mike Nass sits second. Ernie Holmes comes to life with a 79. That machine is partially built and maintained by the track welder here, Tim Alger. So I bet you that's a pretty safe roll cage. Hopefully we won't have to find out. Haywood about a 4-car length lead over the 81 of rookie Mike Nass. Nass started on the point, doing a very good job holding on to second. Right now, Ernie Holmes and Brian Bushy working over the back bumper. Billy Barcombe behind him. That's Bonsai Bill. He's a driver that crashes or wins. You may want to keep an eye on the 14. Early retiree, the 02 of Jeremy Tolston. Problems on that machine, and he is forced to the pits early. Haywood's lead about 8 car lengths. Mike Nass second. Brian Bushy has moved into third. Defending street stock champ Moon Miller is battling for fourth with the 14 of Bonsai Bill. Halfway that time by for Haywood. Smoke from the back of Miller's number 99. Don't know if it's tire smoke, but whatever it is, definitely got in the face of Barcombe up in 1 and 2. He backed off. Mike Nass opens the door. Bushy takes second, and Moon Miller trying to follow him through. Nobody, though, can challenge the 3 of Andy Haywood. Now the 14 of Bonsai Bill goes to the back as troubles again develop in that machine. 2 to go for Haywood. And it does not appear that the red and white 17 of Bushy will be able to catch him this time. Bushy clearly in second by about a dozen car lengths. Battle for a third. Hang out 3 wide out of 2. Inside out, Miller, Nass, and Cunningham with the 11. Hang out as they thread him through turn 3. Mike Nass in the middle part of the sandwich, backs off, but Miller gets a piece of him. Nass into Bonsai Bill. Bill turns Nass back around, and for a guy who was running second, Mike Nass developed a bunch of problems, and he's at the back of the pack now. Tough break for the driver in the 81. Up front, Bushy has caught Haywood, but it's a checkered flag, this time out of 4. Haywood, realizing he had the win in his back pocket, eased up just a bit. Haywood wins it over Brian Bushy. Great run for the 11 of Lanny Cunningham. Cunningham making his first appearance in the 11, Rob, and I'll tell you what, it took him a few laps, but when he got dialed in, he started to move in the 11 machine.
Well, he played it conservative at the start of the race, being new to the track, wanted to see how the car was handling on the track, and he ended up with a great third-place finish. This is as well as Andy Haywood has run in the Flying Tiger division this season, Steve Hayes, with a convincing win here in the first heat.
Awesome Andy from the days of dirt where he had a pretty good campaign. Came a couple of months ago here to Airborne with that number 3, debuted, and as Rob said, had a pretty good run here early on. Let's see if he can hold it together for the rest of this weekend.
Heat number 2 for the Flying Tigers take to the Speedway. 10 cars in this second heat, Steve Hayes. They're set to go 8 laps.
Pretty good looking field for the second qualifier of Fall Foliage Weekend. Toby Ebersol, Kevin Sorrell, row 1. Bill Sawyer and the 71 machine of Chris Fisher in row 2. Row 3, Nate Esseltine, Bob Woods. Next row, Russell Johnson and the returning Mark Lamberton in the 29. Nice to see Mark back in action. Fifth and final row, the 75 of Sparky LePan and the beautiful number 2 of Bruce Dussablon. You know, Bruce has a nice looking number 2, but will it look that good by this time, say tomorrow after he gets done a few laps of racing here? Tight bunch of automobiles, 6 of them threading their way through 1 and 2. Ebersol takes a lead. Sorrell backing up the outside groove just a little bit. Bill Sawyer pulls to the left side to move into second. Sorrell not quite ready to give it up yet. Trouble up in 3. Esseltine and Bob Woods hook bumpers. They separate themselves. And I'll tell you, we took the entire month of September off, but those last couple of races in August, one of the most improved Tigers was the white 57 of Bob Woods. Up front, it is the black 82 of Toby Ebersol. Then, while Bill Sawyer sits second with the rookie Chris Fisher right on his bumper, fourth is Sorrell, but hang on. Lamberton takes that spot. Russell Johnson also battling for a position. Up front, Sawyer looks to the inside of Ebersol. Halfway, make it side by side, hits the brakes and smokes them a bit as they head through 3. But coming out of 4, Sawyer takes the lead. Ebersol way wide. He's going to lose more than the lead. He'll be back to 4th. It is Sawyer, Fisher, Lamberton, your top 3, and Mark Lamberton all over the back bumper of Chris Fisher. Lamberton to the inside the place to be, no doubt about it. Trouble on the 82 of Ebersol. The former leader is way off the pace. Half down, half to go for Sawyer, but Mark Lamberton on his back bumper. This is not going to be an easy run now for the 39 machine. Lamberton, a tap to the back end of Sawyer. I think that Bill knows he's there. You may remember that Lamberton missed about 3 or 4 weeks of racing after he plowed the front end of that 29 machine into the turn 4 embankment. Talked to the crew. They said, we had a lot of time on our hands. We figured we'd piece it together for the last race of the year. And right now their work is paying off as he's battling the 39 for the top spot. They come together in 3 and 4. There'll be 2 to go as they drag race to the stripe. Lamberton pulls ahead going into 1, but Sawyer not able to give up the position yet. Now he dirt tracks it. And by losing traction, that's all the advantage Lamberton needed. He'll take the lead and start to pull away. Battling for third to go in a couple of rookies. The 71 of Fisher, the 28 of Johnson. White flag for the 29 machine. You may have heard speculations of the track and Malone opening. Well, according to the crew, if they run Fridays, look for the Lamberton machine to run Fridays at Malone and Saturdays at Airborne. That car is stationed just about halfway between the 2 tracks, so it's not very far from the halt to either facility. And the 29 of Lamberton on a return makes it victorious. He picks up the checkered. Sawyer second, Fisher third, Johnson fourth, and Bob Woods up for 5th. Well, we missed him for a few races, Rob, but nice to see Mark back in action, and he picks up the checker flag of the second qualifier.
Well, Steve Hayes, Mark Lamberton and his crew, of course, had to do a lot of work on that car to get it back into racing condition. And for Mark Lamberton, it certainly has been a tough season in trying to defend his track championship from 1993. And certainly he'd like nothing better than to wind up the season with a victory here on Fall Foliage Weekend.
Mark is one of those drivers. Everyone's wondering what are his plans for next year. He really doesn't know yet. But I'll tell you, Flying Tiger run next year wouldn't hurt him. Maybe he move to the late models. We won't know until next season.
It's a high handicap heat for the Flying Tiger division. Good field of cars. Steve Hayes, Gary Wood sitting on the inside of the front row. He's been one of the fastest. You think he can win this one?
Well, I'll tell you what, if he does, he's going to have to hold off the best of the best because he has the top point guys behind him. Gary Wood and the Mean Green 86 of Tyson Drown occupy row 1. Behind him, Jimmy Young, Brad Duquette, then Mike Bushy and Mark Eddy, followed by Eldred Hutchins, Mark Barnier. The 5th and final row, the guys battling for the track championship in the Tiger division, Jason Leo and Eric Williams. The front row come together pretty heavy up in 1. They separate themselves, no problems. Everybody's still heading straight. The car on the move, what's new? The Zero Barnier. He splits a couple of competitors and he's moving on the inside. Gary Wood leads it. Jimmy Young second, but Mark Barnier is already to 5th and almost got taken to the infield with Drown. Now
Barnier's got a flat tire.
No doubt about it. Barnier indeed does have a flat. Tough break for the driver of the Zero. He really made a hard charge the first lap, but you can't do it on 3 tires. Gary Wood, your leader. Jimmy Young runs second. Mike Bushy on the outside says, hey, I think I want to get up toward the front. Drown fourth, and then side by side behind him, Hutchins and Leo. You may remember earlier this year, we were inside that 37 machine. Eldred Hutchins had an in-car camera and gave us some great views. Of course, it wasn't the week that he put it up on two wheels, but your leader, the 53 of Gary Wood. He started first and hoping to finish there. Battle for second, 3 or 4 car lengths behind him. Jimmy Young to the inside, Mike Bushy to the outside. And that will be a problem for the 8 of Leo, because if he wants to pass him, he may have to go 3 wide. And Jason, not too apt to do that. He doesn't like going way wide. Doesn't have to. Now the 1 of Young opens the inside. Leo does go 3 wide, but he does it on the inside. And Jimmy Young gets passed to the left and to the right. Gary Wood looks at his mirror and says, now wait a minute, last time around, that red 8 was nowhere near me. Where did he come from? It is Gary Wood, Jason Leo, Mike Bushy, Jimmy Young, Eric Williams, Tyson Drown, Mark Eddy, Eldred Hutchins, and Brad Ducat. But with 2 to go, it looks like a 2-car battle. Is it going to be the 53, a multi-time feature winner, Gary Wood, or the guy second in points to Eric Williams, the red 8 of Jason Leo? Leo to the inside. He used the move to get by Young. Can't get the lead with it, though. Gary Wood puts it sideways. Mike Bushy in the front end. Eric Williams tags the back. And Jimmy Young will win it. With 1 to go, Jimmy Young might just win this thing. I may have been premature by saying he'll win it, because Jason Leo has got back onto the gas. We are going to have a checker caution as Gary Wood is facing the wrong way on the inside groove. Mark Bartier comes out with 1 to go, and Jamie Young, who looked like he was out of it, because of what happened with 1 to go, will win it over Jason Leo. Third place, I believe, is Mark Eddy. Fourth may have been Eldred Hutchins, who may have nipped the 77 of Eric Williams. All right. So Eldred Hutchins, who was at the back of the pack, gets the advantage. Of course, Jimmy Young, who looked like he was going backwards, takes the lead on the incident up in 4. And how about that incident? Leo to the inside. Gary Wood also running that groove. They tap. And you may remember that Gary Wood got tapped at the front end by Bushy, at the back end by points leader Williams. And you got to wonder, Rob, is there any damage to the 53 machine?
Well, Steve, the way I saw it, I thought Leo had established the inside heading into the turn, and I think Gary tried to hold him off by going hard into the turn. And when he did that, just a little bit too hot, and he went around. But some of the cars did not race back to the checkered. Eddy almost picked off a couple of cars. So did Eldred Hutchins, who, as a matter of fact, did pick off Eric Williams.
Well, Eric Williams clearly came out of 4 and lifted, anticipating that maybe they would have a yellow-white, but they had taken the white. And under American Canadian Tour rules, if you have taken the white, even if there is a caution, you race back to the checkered flag.
Heat number 1, this is the Western Regional. Steve Hayes, you don't know this, but you're going to announce the race.
Oh, wonderful.
Good field of cars, and I know you know all the drivers' names.
Actually, this time I do. Front row, the 6 of Danny Knoll Jr. The question today has been, where has this guy been all year? Outside row 1, the guy who basically clinched this thing, the 15 of Derek Lynch, second at ACT points overall. Row 2, Metivier and Bedard. We will get to the rest. They head into 1. The 74 of Richard Beauchamp, a strong runner, is San Eustache. 80, Donnell Teets. 55, Brad Layton. 49, to be familiar, Mark Lamphere. 68 of Martin Waugh, and the 20 of Tommy Rowe. Out of 4, Danny Knoll Jr. He has run strong here at Airborne in the past, but this year nobody seems to know where he has been. Metivier has it open into the inside, can't quite do anything with it. Thinking about going 3 wide. Derek Lynch wouldn't like it. He's outside Knoll. And Danny Knoll is not about to give up the top spot, but now he has to. That's a Jerry Truck Stop 15 of Norwood, Ontario. Derek Lynch powers to the front, and he has done that all year long. This is not qualifying for the ACT Fall Foliage 300. This is a Western Regional to be held a little later today. Lynch, Knoll, Metivier, Teague, Beauchamp, Layton, Bedard, Roy, Lanphier, and Tommy Rowe. Now the 68 machine is actually Lucien Ruchelou's backup. As a couple of weeks ago at Thunder Road, Martin Roy destroyed the number 90 machine, went over the turn 1 embankment and landed on his top, on top of Jason Gibbs' pickup truck. I kid you not, I saw the truck. It was a serious crash, to say the least. Derek Lynch has pulled away, and barring a caution, will be carrying a checkered flag in just about 5 laps. He'll be half down, half to go this time by. Knoll is having a pretty tough time holding off the hard charger from Montreal, Sylvain Metivier. Metivier in the past has sometimes been criticized for being a little too aggressive, but I'll tell you what, when the car is hooked up, he can be an awful strong competitor. Fourth is the 74 Richard Beauchamp. Again, he's a weekly runner at Circuit St. Eustache up near Montreal. This Western Regional visited that St. Eustache Speedway a few weeks ago. It was a pretty good race with Derek Lynch and I believe Donnell Forte battling for the top spot. Now once again, ACT prohibits us from showing ACT action. However, this is a Western Regional show. Derek Lynch, injured leader, may have lifted a little bit, has a big lead over the battle for second. No need to make a mistake now. Definitely wants to keep the car in one piece as he is second in overall ACT points to Mike Rowe. 2 to go for the 15 of Lynch. Battle for second is still strong. Metivier to the inside. Danny Knoll made one slight error, and Sylvain Metivier made it pay for him by taking the second spot. Fourth is Beauchamp. Fifth is Brad Layton. A little surprised Layton hasn't moved up farther. White flag for Lynch. I told you that Sylvain Metivier, when the car is hooked up, can be a pretty good driver. He just disposed of Danny Knoll. And I trust me, fans, Danny Knoll is a very good driver. Out of 4, Lynch wins it over Metivier. Close for a third. Danny Knoll, I think, by a bumper, held off the 74 of Richard Beauchamp. Fifth to Layton, followed by Yvon Bedard, Donnell Teague, Mark Lanphier, Martin Roy, and the 20 of Tommy Rowe. Well, which new? The 15 gets out front and pulls away. We've seen that all year long, Rob. No difference here. Lynch carrying another checker.
Derek Lynch has been the hottest driver just about on the American-Canadian Tour. And in this Western Regional Series, he's been beat once, Steve Hayes. And he's looking to make it 5 out of 6 for the Western Regional.
Let me put it this way. If he takes the green in the Western Regional, the title is his. And that's basically puts in a nutshell. He has been the guy to beat, and no one has been able to beat him except for that one outing. Derek Lynch looking very strong to win 5 out of 6 in the Region Series.
Heat number 2 for the Western Regional on the Speedway. Steve Hayes with a call.
11 automobiles set to take the green. Front row, Dave Whitlock, and the 00 of Roger Laperle. Row 2, here's a familiar name, Dennis Demers, Donald Forte. Row 3, Lucien Ruchelou and Rick LePage. Dave Whitlock has won 1 ACT race in his career. It was early last month, and it was the Milk Bowl. That's a pretty good one to win. Roger Laperle takes the early lead. Donald Forte into second. Whitlock back to third, but Demers wants to take that from him. Ruchelou running 5th. Other automobiles in the field, the 66 of Ruchelou, the 30 of Doug Stokes. Hey, you know, we tell you that Dave Whitlock has quite a haul from Petrolia, Ontario. How'd you like to be Doug Stokes? He comes from Nova Scotia to race the 300 every year. The 11 of Claude Clark. The 88 of Jeff Taylor, 1X of Steve Knowlton, 91 of Mike Bachelder, and the 18 of Rick LePage. And by the way, yes, that is Kevin LePage's brother. Up front, it is Roger Laperle. Very wide out of Ford. If Donald Forte was paying any attention, he is going to remember that for maybe a future pass. Forte working over the back end of the 00 machine. Battle for third is Whitlock and Demers. But that battle is about 6 car lengths in front of the one for the top spot. Again, the 00 wide out of 4. LaPearl having to deal with a very loose automobile. And why is Donald Forte going to the outside? If LaPearl's going to drift up, I think he'd want to go to the inside and make the pass. Here we go. Trouble up in 3. Lucien Richelieu smokes the tires after 360ing the automobile. Everybody avoids him. No caution. Forte again to the inside. Earlier this year, before the ACT kicked off the season, Donald Forte made a trip down to Florida, and he was very successful. As a matter of fact, one of the races he won, he beat guys like Jody Ridley and Butch Miller. Oh, so close. LaPearl looked over his left shoulder, saw the nose of the 42, but as the battle for the lead heats up, the 92 and 86 of Whitlock and Demers respectively have made it a 4-car battle for the lead. Battle for 5th, Leclerc and Taylor, but they are out of the front of the pack by, almost a full straightaway. They would need a caution. Well, Derek Clinch basically has clinched the Western Regional. That would be Region 3. In case you're wondering about the other regionals, Region 2, the one that Airborne is a part of, the $5,000 regional winner is the 32 of Jean Paul Sear. And the guy who won Region 1, well, he's out on the track right now. The beautiful yellow 88 of Jeff Taylor, multi-time feature winner and track champion from Maine. Battle for the lead. Again, Forte sticks his nose under Roger LaPearl, but Roger has never been known to give up position easily. And again, he shuts the door on the 42. White flag. Maybe the 66 of Lucien Richelieu will come into play. Don't know if they'll catch him, which we have a half a lap to go. Forte nose underneath. Forte may lose second. Whitlock carries the momentum into the turn. We lose the tracks at the back end as they come out of 4th. The double zero hangs on. Roger LaPearl with a hard-earned victory over the 42 of Donald Forte. 3rd to the 92 of Dave Whitlock. Dennis Demers almost took 3rd, has to settle for 4th. And Region 1 champion Jeff Taylor captures the 5th spot. All the action was up front, Rob, and I'll tell you, LaPearl was loose, but he never did let that 42 get by him.
Roger LaPearl is a tough driver, tough guy to pass when he gets to the front, Steve Hayes.
No doubt about it, as the double zero, as I said, has never been known to make it easy to pass him. And I'll tell you, Donald Forte did just about everything he could except spin the double zero around. Roger carries a checker this time, but look for Donald Forte to maybe have a chance on a little later in the Western Regional.
Heat number 1 for the late model sportsman on the Speedway. Great field of late models on hand. This first heat, they'll line up this way. Dave Gibbs on the pole, Robin Wood on the outside of row 1. Row 2, it's Rod Weed on the inside of row 2. Oh, we've been away for a month, Steve Hayes. Gordon Adams on the outside of row 2. Then it's Tony Poissant in the 42 on the outside, Lonnie Lackalade. Norm Gay and Richard Bootsy in the 21. Then it is Ed Lockerbie in the 33. Red Mead in the 1. In the 3 is Clem Despo in the 01 of Gary Cunningham. Green is out on this first late model sportsman heat. Dave Gibbs shoots to the front of the 97. Gibbs appeared at Airborne over the last 3 weeks of August, so he is quite familiar with the track. Of course, Robin Wood, look out. Gordon Adams loose in between 3 and 4, and we have contact. Lonnie Lackalade, I believe. Yes, flat tire, left front tire is flat on Lonnie Lackalade 17. Lackalade got bounced around between Norm Gay and another automobile, and he is limping around the speedway on the outside. And he will take that car pit side, no doubt. We go back to the front of the pack. It is still Dave Gibbs out in front. Running second now, Tony Poissant. Poissant, you'll remember, won week 1, has not won since. There's Poissant in the 42. Wood running third in the 61. And we have caution on the Speedway as a couple of cars, Cunningham in the new 01 and Gordon Adams in the 55, spin in turn 4. That brings out the caution, Steve Hayes. And I think not only is the announcer rusty, but I think these drivers, some of them are rusty also.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Some of these guys did run throughout the month of September, especially anyone who runs at Thunder Road, as they ran through the month. But it does look like some of these guys need just a couple of laps of competition to get the cobwebs worked out.
All right, caution on the Speedway with 3 laps complete in this first late model sportsman heat. 3 laps complete in this first late model sportsman qualifier. 3 of them on the card this Saturday afternoon. Gibbs and Poisson are in row 1. Row 2 is Robin Wood and Rod Weed. Row 3, Red Mead and Richard Bootsy. Then Clement Despo in the 33 and the 01 of Gary Cunningham. Norm Gay just joins at the rear of the field. 3 complete. They come out of 4 and the green is out. Gibbs high out of 2, but he pulls out in front, a car length back to Tony Poisson. Poisson looks to the inside as they head into turn 3, but Gibbs shuts the door. It is Dave Gibbs, Tony Poisson, Robin Wood third. Red Mead in the Ford Thunderbird, car number 1, looks to the outside of Robin Wood. Mead tries to pick off the 3rd spot. He is stuck on the outside. Running 5th, the 3 of Clem Despo, his first appearance at Airborne, perhaps ever. I'm not sure I ever remember Clement Despo here at Airborne. And he is currently running 5th. Halfway in this first late model sportsman heat. Best battle on the Speedway again, it is for 3rd between Robin Wood and Red Mead. Red Mead has not been at Airborne since July, so he has been away from the Speedway for quite a while as well. Running over at Thunder Road, however, as well as a couple of times at Riverside Speedway in Groveton, New Hampshire. Side by side down the backstretch, better traction for the one of Red Mead as Wood was loose off of 2 that last time, and Red Mead moves into the 3rd spot. Meanwhile, up front it is still Dave Gibbs. He's got half a car length lead over the 42 of Tony Poisson. Poisson is there if Gibbs makes any bobbles. Matter of fact, Poisson looks to the inside as they head into 3. Gibbs is high, a little bit loose out of 4, and that's going to allow Tony Poisson to move underneath and take the lead. Poisson's the new leader as they head out of 2 down the backstretch. Half a car length back to Gibbs, and then it is several car lengths back to the one of Red Mead. Mead running 3rd. 4th is Robin Wood. Clem Despo is 5th. 6th is Richard Bootsy. Rod Weed is 7th. 8th is Norm Gay. And 9th is the 01 of Gary Cunningham. White flag flies for the 42 of Poisson. Poisson pulling away down the backstretch from Dave Gibbs. And it looks like, barring any misfortune for Tony Poisson, he's going to have the win in this first heat. There he is, the driver from Alburgh, Vermont. Tony Poisson wins it. Dave Gibbs is 2nd, 3rd, Red Mead. Robin Wood 4th, Clem Despo 5th, Richard Bootsy 6th. Rod Weed 7th, 8th to Norm Gay, 9th to Gary Cunningham. Steve Hayes early on here. Seems to me that the cars, under daylight conditions, sticking a little bit better on the outside. As we've seen several divisions now run on the outside, and a couple of cars seem to make it stick out there.
Well, in the Tiger qualifier, it looked like they liked the inside, but I agree, at least through these last couple of late model races, the outside seems to be the place you want to be. And well, Tony Poisson got the pass on the inside, but that was because Gibbs in the 97 very loose, though he was able to hold on to 2nd. And Red Mead driving the 1. This may be the final weekend you will see Red Mead in that car, if you believe the rumors, and they're pretty good rumors, believe me. Next year, that car will be driven by Flying Tiger competitor Eric Williams, driving for Rookie of the Year.
There's the winner from Alburgh, Vermont, car 42, Tony Poisson. Heat number 2 for the late model sportsman on the Speedway. 11 cars in this second heat, paced by Dave Gay in the 19 and the 11 of Ron Lamel. Row 2, it's Buck O'Branham in the 63 and Billy Fountain in the 91. Row 3, Plattsburgh's Joe Thomas. On the outside, South Hero, Vermont's Glenn Wright. Then it is Steve Renadette in the 76. Chet DeVarney's back in the 12. The 8 of Monty Lemaire. 31, that is shotgun on the field. Didn't hear that announcement, Steve Hayes. Someone in the 31 this afternoon. Green is out. Berger Blake also in the field driving car 27. That's a strong car over at Thunder Road. See how he does here in the bigger half-mile Airborne. Ron Lamel shoots out in front in the 11. Battle for second between Dave Gay on the inside and Billy Fountain in the 91. Smoke from the right front on the 91 car. Down the backstretch, Field settles out. Glenn Wright on the outside tries to take that 4 spot from Bucko Branham. Branham tries to fight back on the inside as they come out of 4. Down the front stretch. It's right on the line as he now tries to move his way around Billy Fountain and take over the 3rd spot, but he's loose off of 2. And Bucko Branham looks to the inside of Billy Fountain. Whoa, that would have been a bold move. Ron Lamel leads it. Second is Dave Gay. You see the battle for 3rd between the 91 of Billy Fountain and the 48 of Glenn Wright. Running 5th is Bucko Branham. Joe Thomas is 6th. He's in a battle with Chet DeVarney Jr. in the 12. Glenn Wright able to make the pass of Billy Fountain as they head into turn 1. Down the backstretch, he will settle into the 3rd spot, and he sets his sights on the 19 of Dave Gay. Gay trails Ron Lamel by about 8 car lengths. Lamel cruising in the 11. Chet DeVarney Jr. on the move. Co-rookie of the year at the Riverside Speedway in Groveton, New Hampshire. Chet DeVarney Jr. is up to 5th. He hasn't been here since July either. Dave Gay loose off of 4. Glenn Wright looks to the inside. At the line, it was Glenn Wright for 2nd. He takes over the spot. Gay back to 3rd. Billy Fountain still runs 4th. 5th now, Chet DeVarney. And 6th is Bucko Branham. Steve Renadette runs 7th. 8th, Berger Blake on the outside as Joe Thomas has problems. The 66 has a right rear flat tire as he will take the car pit side with 7 laps complete. This time by, there will be 2 to go for the 11 of Ron Lamel. Lamel, the driver of the Eaglefield Ford Meineke Muffler Ford Thunderbird, cruising as he leads by about 8 car lengths over Glenn Wright. Wright runs 2nd in the Children's Miracle Network car 48. Back to Dave Gay. He is 3rd. Billy Fountain trailing Smoke the entire heat. Still runs 4th. Chet DeVarney tries to challenge on the outside. While they battle in the back of the pack, we go back to the front where Ron Lamel comes out of turn 4. He sees the checkers from Chief Starter Butch Henry, and he wins this 2nd late model sportsman heat. Glenn Wright is 2nd. 3rd, Dave Gay. 4th to the 91 of Billy Fountain. 5th at the line, I believe it was Chet DeVarney, although it was very close. Steve Renadette also in there. 7th to Berger Blake in the 27. 8th to Monty Lemaire. And the 31, Steve Hayes, I didn't catch who was driving the 31. Not sure if it's Lance Furno or not.
It is not Lance Furno. I did hear him say replacement driver, but I didn't get the name either. We'll get that for you later, though. Although the car did not perform as well as we would expect, so that should have been a clue. It probably wasn't Lance in the 31.
All right, there's the winner of the 2nd late model sportsman heat, Essex Junction's Ron Lamel. Stay with us, more exciting racing action coming up on Motorsports Magazine from Airborne. Third heat for the late model sportsman on the Speedway. 12 cars in this 3rd heat. They'll go 10 laps. They're paced by the 45 of Brian Hoare. On the outside, the 9 of Danny Bridges. Row 2, it's Ron Weston in the 35 and Peter Fecto in the 75. Row 3, Scott Carpenter and Doug Hoare. Row 4, these are the 2 cars to watch, Brent Dragon and Dave Whitcomb. Jimmy Barton in the 57, Greg Lyman in the 04. Phil Scott is in the 14, and Joey LeCaire is the driver of car number 15. Out of 4, the green is out. Brian Hoare with a great jump on the inside. Danny Bridges settles down into the 2nd spot. Brian Hoare runs out in front, quickly down the backstretch. Doug Hoare looks to the outside of Peter Fecto for the 4th spot. Field comes flying out of turn 4. Brian Hoare has a 6-car length lead over the 9 of Danny Bridges. Then it is back to 3rd and Ron Weston. You watch the battle for 4th. Fecto on the inside, Doug Hoare on the inside, and Doug Hoare at the line. As Hoare is picking cars off on the outside, as we've seen him do this earlier in the season. And when he is able to make passes on the outside, Doug Hoare is just about the fastest car on the track. Hoare looks to the outside of Weston for 3rd. And that time, Doug Hoare was loose off of 2, and he loses 2 spots as the 75 of Fecto and Scott Carpenter move underneath. Brian Hoare with a very comfortable margin over Bridges. 3rd, Weston. 4th, Peter Fecto. Scott Carpenter, 5th. Doug Hoare bounced back to 6th. 7th is Whitcomb. Dave Whitcomb, our points leader. Behind him is the car that is 2nd in the points, and Brent Dragon in 0. We're halfway through this 3rd late model sportsman heat, and for Brian Hoare, it's a walk in the park as he has a huge lead. Spin up in turn 2. Jimmy Barton and Joey LeCaire involved. He's at the rear of the field, and it brings out the caution. So a spin between LeCaire and Jimmy Barton to the inside of turn 2 brings out the caution, Steve Hayes, and for Brian Hoare, it's been cake.
I'll tell you, I think this one is all Brian Hoare. He'll get the start of the point again, obviously, and no offense to the guys behind him, Bridges, Weston, Fecto, and Carpenter, but Brian Hoare, you give him the point, he's going to be a tough guy to beat. Also, something about Brian Hoare, last couple of years, he never can start this season because he was away in college, so he always missed the first month of racing. He's out of college now, so he should be a contender right from day 1 in the 95 season.
All right, they'll reset the field. We'll take a break and remind you, you're watching MotorSports Magazine from Airborne. We're set to restart the 3rd late model sportsman heat. It's Brian Hoare and Danny Bridges. Ron Weston will look to move up underneath Bridges on this restart. He's on the inside of row 2. And Peter Fecto's on the outside. Then Scott Carpenter, Doug Hoare, Dave Whitcomb, Brent Dragon, Phil Scott, Joey LeCaire, Greg Lyman, and Jimmy Barton. All the cars still running in this 3rd heat. The green is out. Bridges with a bold move to settle down into 2nd in front of Ron Weston. Phil Scott spins at the rear of the field. He takes a bath through turn 2, and he keeps the car rolling. We go back to the front of the pack. Hoare leads it. Bridges is 2nd. Phil Scott spins once again. Steve Hayes, I think you know what happened. What?
I can tell you exactly. Phil did a very good piece of driving up in 1. He would have ran in the back end of the guy in front of him. He hit the brakes, bought the car around, took off and realized, hey, wait a minute, these guys are up in 4. So he just spun the car out to draw the caution.
All right, they'll reset the field once again. Phil Scott goes to the pits. Still 5 laps complete. Steve Hayes on that last restart. Danny Bridges with a bold move, sliding the car right down in front of Ron Weston. I think Ron might be right on the rear bumper this time of the 45.
If Danny Bridges can do that again, it either means Ron Weston does not come up to power on the restart, or he is just not thinking, because he will be glued to Brian's back bumper.
All right, 5 complete. Let's see what happens on the restart. As expected, Ron Weston to the inside of Danny Bridges as they come out of 2 down the backstretch. Weston will move into the 2nd spot. Bridges stuck on the outside. Scott Carpenter, the track champion, looks to move underneath for 3rd. Should say defending track champion Scott Carpenter. Right now he needs catastrophe to happen to both Whitcomb and Dragon if he is to regain or retain his title this season. Brian Hoare cruising at the front of the pack. Ron Weston running second. He has clinched the Rookie of the Year championship in the late model sportsman. He is second. Carpenter is third. Doug Hoare looks to move underneath Danny Bridges for fourth, and he has done so as they head into 3 and now come out of 4 down the front stretch. Bridges has been stuck on the outside. Dave Whitcomb moves underneath. Brent Dragon, will he be next to move underneath Danny Bridges? Battle for third. Doug Hoare, Scott Carpenter, contact. Carpenter with a great job of driving. Spins the car, gets it headed in the right direction. Peter Fecto spun, he gets the car moving, and the checkered flag is about to fly for Brian Hoare. Weston second, Doug Hoare third, Bridges fourth, fifth to Dave Whitcomb, sixth to Brent Dragon, seventh to Jimmy Barton, eighth to Joey LeCaire, ninth Scott Carpenter, 10th Phil Scott, 11th Greg Lyman, 12th to Peter Fecto. And boy, that incident occurred right in front of the first and second point men. Whitcomb and Dragon, the 2 leaders in the standings, had to take evasive action, but they managed to avoid that mishap.
Good piece of driving by both those guys. And you were talking about Scott Carpenter being the defending track champ. Well, to go back-to-back, he needs something to happen to Whitcomb and Dragon. He is 57 points behind Dave Whitcomb coming in. Brent is 30 points behind, so looks pretty bleak for Scott to go back-to-back. But Rob Weston will indeed be Rookie of the Year. And we should mention the Tiger Division. Rookie of the Year is still up for grabs because it is 1 point separating Toby Ebersol and Danny Benoit.
There's the winner. Convincing win for Brian Hoare in car 45. 12 cars in this first street stock heat. They'll go 6 laps, Steve.
You know, we were talking earlier, we were rusty because we had a month off. You can really forget these guys sometimes. Front row, the 84, Rick Wells, the 39 is Sonny Reeves. Row 2, the 43, Richard Petty clone of Ken Misick. And on the outside, the 00 machine. That one piloted by Tim Martin. He is one of the Racing Martins out of Vermont. There's only like 4 or 5 of them in this division. Mark Martin in the 6, one of his brothers in this field. Hang on, where is the 11 of Arno going? He goes way wide. 5 wide down the backstretch. Fecto, scratching, not Fecto, Farnsworth. The back end of Reeves. Now Dave Perrin takes the pit road entrance. What is going on with the street stocks? Leo Dugan sideways. He's going to collect the concrete. Keith Nolan, plenty of time to hit the brakes before head-oning the 2 of Duggan. Who is I guess the pole setter is the later Rick Wells with the 84. Farnsworth runs second. Misick third. Battle for fourth between Parent and the 99 of Andrew Carey. Then Varno with the 11. Very difficult to keep track of these guys sometimes. Things have settled down now. Tires screeching as they head into 1. Rick Wells started first, hoping to finish there, but Chuck Farnsworth with the 75 starting to reel in the leader. Battle for third, 4 automobiles involved. Parent, Carey, Misick, and Varno. Battle for the lead is hot and heavy. Farnsworth all over the back bumper of Rick Wells. Battle for third just as tight as Andrew Carey's 99 all over the back bumper of Parent's 37. And everybody else seems to have straightened things out now. 2 to go for Wells. And after a wild first lap, the street stocks calmed down a bit. Whoops. Well, maybe I was premature. Andrew Carey, Dave Perrin come together. Perrin turned around up in turn 1. He was running third. Obviously is no longer. White flag for Wells coming out of 4. But it's not a giveaway yet. Chuck Farnsworth with a 75 still in contention here. But it is a 2-car battle. Rick Wells says, okay. Goes way wide out at 2. Farnsworth says, thank you very much. And he'll take over the top spot. Well, he He only led the last half lap, but that's all he needed. Farnsworth takes the win over pole sitter Rick Wells. Coming out of 4, Andrew Curry will be 3rd. 4th to the 43 of Ken Misick. Tim Martin will be 4th with his brother Mark Martin right behind him. And Rob, these guys had a wild start that first lap. There was at least 3 or 4 incidents where cars got into each other, but after that, things kind of calmed down a bit.
Nothing new for these guys. Is probably the only division here at Airborne that can make it 3 or 4 or 5 wide around this track. And now,
did I miss something? Chief Starter Butch Henry giving the checker flag to Rick Wells, and Chuck Farnsworth saying, wait a minute.
Wells the winner.
Did I miss something?
I thought I just heard the 75 jumping the start. Jumping the restart.
The problem with that is...
Before the green flag, he had passed 3 or 4 cars.
The problem is I was looking at the scoreboard, and they had him marked on the scoreboard the whole time, so I just assumed he was legal. Well, Chuck Farnsworth smokes the tires, and they're putting him 4th now on the scoreboard, so I don't know. On the scoreboard, they list Rick Wells a winner over Andrew Carey, Ken Misick, Chuck Farnsworth, and Tim Martin. So we will call the 84 pole sitter Rick Wells the winner, as he started first and indeed finished there, even though he was second on the track, we thought. And Wells picks up the first of 2 qualifiers for the street stocks.
Second and final heat for the street stocks on the Speedway. They'll go 6 laps, and Steve, there's a lot of interesting things in this heat.
A lot of very good drivers in this heat. Front row, Curtis LaGrave and Corey Trombley. Row 2, Skip Liberty and Bob Wells. Row 3, Rick Frenier, Ralph Doss Jr. Also involved the 0 of Steve Fisher, the 29 of Brian Pugh, 60 Terry Gunham, 92 Dan Gibbs, and the 91 of Sean Fountain. Point. You want to know what the points are? 10 points separate points leader Dan Gibbs from local driver Brian Pugh. And that's not a whole lot of positions. Up front, Corey Trombley from the outside pole takes the early lead. Curtis LaGrave still on the inside, though. Going to drag him to the line here. Corey, full car length in front of the stripe. 5 automobiles battle over the top spot. Trombley, Wells, LaGrave, Liberty, and Rick Frenier. Skip Liberty to the inside. The 28 machine looks awful tough. Skip Liberty, a long-time competitor here at Airborne in many different divisions, getting that 28 geared up just the right way. He moves into 3rd, and right on his bumper, the 77 of Rick Frenier. We know that car can get to the front. All he needs is just a little opening. Sean Fountain retiring the 91 prematurely. Troubles on that automobile. Up front, Bob Wells goes to the outside. The first heat was run by Rick Wells. Bob Wells hoping to do the daily double here for the family. In order to win it, he's going to have to get by the Tracy Trombley Construction 66 of Corey Trombley. 3rd, Liberty. 4th, Frenier. 5th, LaGrave, followed by Fisher, Gunnup, Pugh, Gibbs, and Ralph Doss Jr. Trombley pulls away a bit on the backstretch. Wells starts to reel him in the turn. Corey gets off the turns better, but Wells catches him entering the turns. 2 to go for Trombley. Bob Wells contemplating a maneuver. Again, tries the outside groove. Skip Liberty running 3rd, not able to catch the lead pair yet. Rick Frenier, I'm surprised he hasn't been able to put more of a challenge up. White flag this time out. Bob Wells content to try the outside groove. Corey Trombley not budging an inch from the inside. They will be side by side coming out of 2, but Bob loses some traction. Just the right Corey needed. And if Bob Wells doesn't tuck in, he may lose 3rd to Liberty. Now he gets back toward the inside. They'll come out of 4 and drag race to the line, but Corey Trombley easily in front by a car length. Corey Trombley over Bob Wells. 3rd to Liberty, 4th to Frenier, and Curtis LaGrave started first, finished 5th. They are your top 5. Well, Bob Wells had a good car, but he just didn't have an opportunity. It's Corey Trombley, Rob, would not open up the inside groove for him.
Steve, in the back of the pack, our 2 points leaders. Top man Gibbs and 2nd place Pugh. Gibbs finishes a couple of spots ahead of Pugh, so he's going to add to the point lead going into the final race tomorrow.
So it'll be about a few points. There were 10 separating them coming in, so it's going to be a few positions. We'll probably have that all figured out, but we get ready for their main event in tomorrow's action. But you know, one surprise here is Frenier 77, not very strong at all, Rob.
All right, there's the winner, car 66, Corey Trombley. He wins the second street stock heat. Stay with us. More racing action coming up on MotorSports Magazine from Airborne. Semi-feature time for the late model sportsman on this Saturday afternoon of qualifying for the late models, as well as the street stocks, part of the fall foliage weekend. Dave Gibbs is in the 97 on the outside, Robin Wood in the 61, then Tony Poisson and the 19 of Dave Gay. Ron Lamell, Glenn Wright, Brian Hoare, Danny Bridges, Ron Weston, Doug Hoare, and Red Mead. 11 cars, 12 laps, green is out. Gibbs shoots out to the front. Battle for second between Poisson and Wood. Poisson pulls the car length in front. Dave Gay moves to the inside of Robin Wood for third. Glenn Wright, 3 wide, down the backstretch. Wright running on the outside of Brian Hoare. Hoare has been the fastest car in the late model division here this afternoon. Up at the front it is Dave Gay, Tony Poisson, or Dave Gibbs rather. Poisson looks to the inside, and he will take over the point heading into turn 3. Inside of Dave Gay. He is third. Brian Hoare to the inside of Gay for fourth. Ron Weston will look underneath for fifth. Tony Poisson leads it. Dave Gibbs is second. Third is Ron Lamell. Brian Hoare is fourth. Fifth is Ron Weston. Sixth right now is Danny Bridges. Brian Hoare to the inside of Lamell for third. Heading into 3, he's even with them. Coming out of 4 and down to the stripe, Brian Hoare will have the third spot. It is Poisson, a couple car lengths back to Dave Gibbs, a car length to Brian Hoare. That margin goes away quickly as Brian Hoare starts to close on the second spot. 6 laps complete in this late model sportsman semi-feature. It's Brian Hoare to the inside of Dave Gibbs. Gibbs shuts the door. Down the front stretch again. Hoare looks to the inside. Dave Gibbs says, not going to happen, but he pushes off a 2. And Brian Hoare inserts his foot and slams the door wide open. He moves into second. Poisson leads it. Brian Hoare is second. Third is Dave Gibbs. Poisson's margin a couple car lengths over Brian Hoare. Hoare loose off a 2. Didn't get a good traction off a 2 that time, but he quickly closes the gap. And he's back to a car length behind Tony Poisson. 9 laps complete in the semi-feature. Tony Poisson, Brian Hoare, battle for third. Ron Lamell to the inside of Gibbs, and he has the third spot. Ron Weston looks to move underneath and take over fourth. 2 to go. We go back to the front. Brian Hoare is on the bumper of Tony Poisson. Hoare looks to the outside as they head into 3. Tony Poisson with a victory earlier this afternoon and a heat as well for Brian Hoare. Both cars have already carried 1 checker today. One of them is going to pick up a second. Poisson has the edge into 3. They come out of 4 down the stripe. Alburg, Vermont's Tony Poisson wins it. Hoare is second. Lamell third. Fourth, Weston. Fifth, Danny Bridges. Glenn Wright, sixth. Dave Gibbs, 7th. Doug Hoare, 8th. Red Mead, 9th. Robin Wood, 10th. 11th to the 19 of Dave Gay. Hey, Tony Poisson bookends, I guess, for this season, because he started off with a win, trying to finish with a win, Steve.
Now he's 2/3 away to a Triple Crown, but you said that one of those guys would be 2 for 2. Well, how's this? We had 3 qualifiers. The 3 winners finished 1, 2, 3 in the semi-feature.
Geez, I guess that car likes to have time off. Of course, opening race, he has several months off over the off season, and he's had a month off to work on that car, and he's pretty quick, Steve.
Yeah, he's really glued into the inside, and let's remember the car he beat, the 45 of Brian Hoare, that car was super quick in his qualifier, so it was either a case that Brian couldn't really run well in the outside groove, or that 42 is just as tough as Brian today.
All right, feature time for the Flying Tigers in this Triple Crown 50-lap main event. Steve Hayes set the field for us.
Starting on the point in the 81 machine, Mike Nass, and outside row 1, he won his qualifier, the brown number 3 of awesome Andy Haywood. In row 2 to the inside, the 17 of Brian Bushy, he joined by defending street stock champ, the 99 of Moon Miller. Row 3, the 79 of Ernie Holmes, the 82 of Toby Ebersol. 4th row, we find the 75 of Sparky LePan and the 39 of Bill Sawyer. Top 10 rounded out by the 71 of Chris Fisher, the 47 of Nate Esseltine. Dropping back to row 6, the 57 of Bob Woods and the 28 of rookie Russell Johnson. Then the mean green 86 of Tyson Drown and the 1 of Middlesex, Vermont's Jimmy Young. Brad Duquette and Mark Eddy occupy the next row. Those are a couple of guys who, if the car's hooked up, they will get to the front in a hurry. Next in line, and I'll tell you, the next 2 rows you have got to keep an eye on. The 37 of Eldred Hutchins, the 0 of Mark Barnier. Then the guys battling for the track championship. 60 points separate them coming into today. The 8 of Jason Leo and our points leader, Eric Williams, with his familiar 77. Behind our 2-point guys, the 49 of Mike Bushy, the 14 of Bonsai Bill Barcombe, 29 of Mark Lamberton, who has 1 win already today, the 11 of Lanny Cunningham, the 2 of Bruce Dusselblom, the 02 of Jeremy Tolliston, 07 is Jeff Plunkett, the 08 of Kevin Sorrell, the 4 of Doug Murphy, early retiree, the 53 of Gary Wood, and Rob, looks like some severe rear end damage on Gary's machine.
Steve, I don't think he's going to be able to participate in this main event, unfortunately.
We're going to take the green, so he definitely won't make the start, and that's what he would have to do to get some points. And this is a points counting race. It is a Triple Crown 50-lap main event, but it will count toward Airborne points. Up front, the front row, side by side, Mike Nass with the 81, Andy Haywood with the 3. And everybody behind him just trying to complete the first lap without taking anyone out. 29 machines set to do battle for 50 laps. First 2 rows, side by side, not giving an inch. And obviously, if they were to stay like that, there wouldn't be a whole lot of passing going on up front. Johnson, real wide with a 28, tries to tuck it in front of Drown and almost clipped him. And that would have been a problem because the point guides would have been involved. Now we get some bumper banking through turns 1 and 2, but nobody turned around yet. Some assertive driving, we will call it, early on here. Battle for the top spot. Brian Bushy on the inside of Nass. Bushy by a bumper that time to complete lap number 3. Ernie Holmes sits 3rd, followed by LePan, then side-by-side Sawyer and Haywood. Another car moving up, the 47 of Nate Esseltine. Esseltine has been a strong driver, and he makes it, and here comes Eddy. Mark Eddy, who in practice had a severely overheating automobile, and Esseltine spins in front of the field. Everybody avoids the 47 machine. Nate Esseltine can open his eyes and start breathing because that was not the place to spin. No caution, but some anxious moments on the front stretch. Trouble on a 2, and this time we will have a caution. Bonsai Bill turned it around and Jeremy Tolston collected him. Also involved the 2 of Bruce Dusselblom. So Rob, the one that should have brought out a caution didn't, and then all of a sudden up in 2, we did have some cars get together.
A lot of banging going on in the middle of the pack, Steve Hayes. Nate Esseltine, an unfortunate victim, as he got tapped from behind and he spun around. And fortunately, the entire field was able to miss Nate Esseltine.
Bonsai Bill Barcombe has pulled off turn 3. He is down in the gully. We can barely see the top of the car. Let's hope he's not waiting to try to ambush somebody over there, because he is hidden, I'll tell you. I have no idea why he's parked over there unless the steering went out on the car.
Picnic going on, maybe?
Well, I wouldn't want to stay there, because I don't think he'll be the only car to visit that area today.
All right, 4 laps complete. We'll have a restart. When we come back, we'll have Steve reset the field, as a lot of top cars have moved their way to the front quickly. Four laps complete in the Flying Tiger 50-lap main event. Still 46 on the book. Steve Hayes, a lot can happen over that distance.
Oh, no doubt about it. A lot can happen in one lap. We found that out already today. Front row, Brian Bushy, Ernie Holmes, a couple of local guys looking to win their first main event of the year. Row 2, Sparky LePen and Bill Sawyer. Row 3, Mike Nass, Mark Eddy. Row 4, Tyson Drown, Andy Haywood. Top 10 rounded out by the Black 82 of Ebersol and the red, white, and blue #1 of Jimmy Young. Chief Sudbury Henry looks the field over, says, hey, that looks pretty good, boys. Let's let him go. Ernie Holmes gets the jump of the outside groove, and Jason Leo is 4 wide going through 2. Leo needs to make up points. Eric Williams just has to finish. I think I'd rather be in Williams' spot, no doubt about it. Ernie Holmes leads the pack. Brian Bushy second. Side by side for third, LePen and Sawyer. Heavy duty smoke with the 53 of Gary Wood. But that was like that when he came out. Apparently rear end, and I mean major rear end problems on Gary's machine. One of the cars on a move is no doubt the 51 of Mark Eddy. Eddy currently battling for third. As far as the guys battling for the track championship, Leo runs 10th, Williams 16th. Heavy duty action for positions 3 through 7. Up front, it is Ernie Holmes, but I got news for you. Mark Eddy, it's all over the back end. Mark Barnier runs third. Barnier comes out of nowhere, and we know that Zero car, if he gets to the front, he's about, oh, trouble in fourth, and it is Eldred Hutchins sideways. He gets collected by, it looks like Mike Bushy. No, it is Toby Ebersol. Ebersol captures the side of Hutchins after Eldred loses the back end. No caution. Tough break for Eldred Hutchins. Third in points. Mark Eddy and Mark Barnier battling for the top spot. They will be catching up to the slower machine of Moon Miller on this lap. Miller off the pace with a 99. Barnier was thinking about using the slower machine for a pick, could not do it as Eddy beat him to the punch. Third is Holmes, fourth is Young, followed by Sawyer, LePen, Leo, and Drown. The two marks starting to pull away from the field a bit. There will be 11 laps down when they hit the stripe this time. Mark Barnier to the outside of Mark Eddy. Eddy dirt tracks it through the turn, gets a bit loose. Barnier not able to capitalize. Ernie Holmes is third by 16 or 17 car lengths, and just a car length behind him, Sawyer and Younger side by side. Barnier dives to the inside. Eddy opens the door. Nice piece of driving by Mark Barnier. Thinking that Eddy would try to go high, he did. Barnier hit the brakes and dove low. And this time, if Barnier will be the inside, and that's enough to give him the top spot. Well, let's see if Barnier can pull away now. You would anticipate at least one more caution. We are still early on in this 50-lap main event. So it may not be the smartest thing in the world if Barnier did pull away. He'd probably have to give up the spot, or at least the track position on the yellow. Of course, if he got a lot of lap cars between him and the nearest competitor, it would help him. Well, who'd have believed this? There will be 15 down the next time they hit the stripe, and Eldred Hutchins is very close to going one lap down to the leader. A pass flag given to Sorrell and Hutchins. Hutchins looks to his right and sees himself going a lap down. Tough break for the Lewis, New York driver. Jason Leo has moved into third, starting to catch up to Mark Eddy. While Leo is third, Eric Williams is 9th or 10th right now. The margin coming in today, 60 points. And of course, they also have a main event tomorrow, so there are really 2 races for these guys to make up some airborne points this weekend. It is Barnier, your leader. Scratch it. Mark Eddy, a half dozen car lengths behind. Then another dozen car lengths or so to Jason Leo, followed by Ernie Holmes and Bill Sawyer. Barnier starts to pull away from the rest of the field now. We should mention the reason that Bonsai Bill Barco went very high off of turn 3. He was shaken up in that incident earlier in this event. Understand he took some rib and knee damage. I guess he more or less got knocked around a bit. Hopefully Bonsai Bill will be A-OK. It would be real nice to see him able to compete here tomorrow. 20 down, 30 to go. It is Barnier, Eddy, and Leo, your top 3. And an eternity back to the battle for 4th between Holmes, LePan, Sawyer, Drown, and Williams. Well, Gary Wood with a 53 was a heavy-duty smoker early in the event. Still smoking, but not nearly as bad. Lap traffic has allowed Mark Eddy and Jason Leo to reel in Barnier's lead machine. He was quite a ways ahead, but now it's only about 8 or 9 car lengths as Barnier took a couple of laps to try to get by some lap traffic, and there is heavy-duty lap traffic in front of the leader, and this is where somebody can lose a top spot quickly. Barnier splitting a couple of slower automobiles, nice piece of driving, and that is going to be trouble for the guys behind him because now Eddy and Leo have to negotiate those same slower automobiles. Leo right now right on the back bumper of Mark Eddy, the battle for second. We saw earlier Jason Leo going 4 wide in turn 1, so we know he'll give it a shot. 4th is Holmes, 5th is LePan. Caution on the Speedway. Looks like the 4 machine of Doug Murphy unable to continue up high in the turn 4 groove. And Rob, we have seen Mark Barnier take the top spot and pretty much do anything he wants. He did have to slow up for some lap traffic, but right now that 0 car looks like he is on tap to collect another checker.
Last couple of laps have worked out real well for Mark Barnier as traffic kind of sorted its way out in front of him. At one point he had 4 or 5 cars battling for position, but as he approached, those cars straightened out and he was able to move around them on the outside.
Now you have to feel real sorry for the guy 3rd in points, Eldred Hutchins. Early in this event got turned around and is down a lap to the field. And we saw 2-3 weeks in a row early this season where on the last lap he had trouble. Had he not had so much misfortune, Eldred could be in this track title.
We are 1 lap away from the midway point in this 50-lap main event for the Flying Tigers. And we'll remind you that you are watching MotorSports Magazine from Airborne. Restart lineup has been posted in this Flying Tiger main event. Beautiful day for racing, Steve Hayes.
A gorgeous day for racing, and the first time in the 5-year history of the Fall Folies 300 weekend, we have not had rain on Saturday. That may be a good omen for this weekend. Front row, the 0 Mark Barnier, he is the leader. The lapped automobile, the 11 of Lanny Cunningham. Row 2, the 2nd and 3rd place guys, Eddy and Leo. Now, you know, we saw Leo early go 4 wide. Almost guarantee you he wants to go 3 wide this time. But instead, Leo looks to the inside. He had lap machines behind him. Would not have hurt him to try the outside. He'll decide to settle into third, though. It is Barnier, Eddie, Leo, your top three. Then the lapped automobiles of Johnson, Cunningham, and Hutchins. Then the fourth place automobile of Sparky LaPan. Half down, half to go for Barnier. A clean and clear track in front of the leader. Ernie Holmes was stuck on the outside on that restart and has paid dearly for it. He had dropped about 6 positions. Troubling too for Mark Eddy. I don't know if he has a tire acting up or not, but that car really gave him a handful. Went way wide. Leo will take second. And if he does have tire problems arising on the 51, he's got a lot of laps to go. He is going to be in trouble. Well, that time through 1 and 2, Eddie able to keep it down. So it is Barney or Leo. Eddie, your top three now. Trouble in turn 2. It is the 11 of Laney. Cunningham spun around. And on the high side of the same turn, the one of Jimmy Young. Also involved Andy Haywood and Toby Ebersol. No caution yet. However, Jimmy Young's automobile has not refired. He will bring out the caution. Jimmy was running near the top 5, and this is not what he needed at all. So, a great restart coming up, Rob. This time, Jason Leo will be right to the outside. Something happening up in the backstretch. A lot of smoke. There is an automobile off the track. It might be Gary Wood. I can see a pink stripe. Gary Wood has pink on the automobile, and that car is buried down there. What happened, Rob?
No idea, Steve Hayes. As I would not be surprised if something broke on that car and it went right into the woods.
In his qualifier, Gary Wood was leading, got taken around in turn 4 and got collected by a couple of automobiles. He came out for this Triple Crown event smoking heavily, has pitted several times. And I agree, Rob, I think something broke in that machine because I don't know anyone who would intentionally drive into the woods like that.
All right, we have 28 laps complete. Word from the backstretch is that Gary Wood is okay, but there are big problems with that 53. Wood and his crew will have to do quite a bit of work to get him race ready for Sunday.
I think they're going to be burning a lot of midnight oil in that garage fixing the car for tomorrow's action.
Fortunately, we're not in the Adirondack Park, or else we might be in trouble. The
53 car Gary Wood has been removed from the woods, and we're set for a restart with 27 complete.
27 down, 23 to go. Popular number because we have 23 cars remaining. The back of the pack is all out of order, but the front of the pack looks so good, we're going to let him go racing. Barnier and Leo take the front positions, and they'll battle side by side for the lead. Mark Eddy is third. The lapped automobile of Hutchins. Fourth is the 77 of Williams. Fifth, the 75 of Sparky LaPan. Well, Jason did not get the jump he was hoping for, that's for sure. One car falling back on this restart. The 29 of Mark Lamberton. Lamberton was about 9th, but he has fallen way to the back. There is smoke from that 29 machine. Does not look good right now. Up front, it is still Barnier leading Leo, but Jason Leo would try just about everything in the book so far to get by him. Looking to the inside, Barnier took the lead on a dive to the inside from Eddie. Leo was thinking about doing it there, but Barnier said, hey, I already did it. I know that move. Eddie is third. Eric Williams fourth, Sparky runs fifth. So although Jason Leo is charged to the front, he's not making up a bunch of points because Eric Williams is just 2 behind him. Mark Lamberton limping the 29 to the infield. Tough break for the guy out of Moores as Mark Lamberton gets the car back together after a vicious crash a couple of months ago, but just doesn't quite hold on. Hopefully they'll have it ready for tomorrow's action. It is Barnier and Leo starting to pull away now from third place, battle between Eddie and Williams. Mark Barnier, Eric Williams have something in common. They're two of the very few drivers who have won features this year at Airborne, Thunder Road, and Riverside. Jason Leo, right tuck to the back bumper of Barnier. Problem is, Barnier is running the same exact line that Jason Leo wants. Mark Eddy doing a great job holding off our points leader, Eric Williams. Williams right tack to his back bumper and can't do a thing about it. Sparky runs fifth by about a dozen car lengths over a good battle between Drown, Sawyer, and Ducat. We have had 17 main events in this division this year. Our top 4 guys have won 7 of them. So I guess you could say that the guys who usually run near the front are doing it. So far it is Barnier and Leo, who now have about 20 car lengths on Williams in third. But Eric Williams, I'll tell you, is probably going to eat up this in a hurry. Jeff Plunkett of the 07 dives off the track out of 2. We should tell you that the Flying Tiger champion over at Thunder over the 94 season is Eric Williams. He is hoping to do the Daily Double and win both track championships. And his plans for next year are simple. Take the one machine of red meat and run for Rookie of the Year honors with the late models. So we hear. I think it's a pretty good bet. That is exactly what he hopes to do, though. Pass flag given into Riverside regular Lanny Cunningham. He dives to the inside, lets the leaders by. Barnier gets by. Leo is going to get by. And Eric Williams has made up several car lengths on that 20 I mentioned a couple of minutes ago. He's about a half a dozen behind Leo. Eddie still runs 4th. 5th, still the 75 of LePage. Best battle on the Speedway, battle for position 6 through 8 between Drown, Sawyer, and Ducat. Well, there's not much Jason Leo can do right now. He has tried inside moves, outside moves, and just about everything else in the book. But Mark Barnier is not giving an inch to the guy in the 8th. 11 to go. Loud traffic coming into play. Leo dives to the outside, might try to use Haywood as a pick. Unable to do so. Now he has another chance, and he will. Oh my, he almost got to use the Johnson and Haywood cars as picks. 10 to go, and Mark Barnier almost. Now Haywood drifts to the outside, takes Leo with him. Andy Haywood and passing Russell Johnson took the second place car with him. And you can bet Jason's not too happy right now. Now Haywood dives in front of Leo, and Eric Williams is caught right up to Jason. So racing Jason, who was just a couple of laps ago, right on the bumper of Barnier, all of a sudden finds himself fighting the guy he's battling the points. Mark Barnier set to put a couple of more cars another lap down, namely Dusselblad, Holmes, and Esseltine. Fourth is still Eddie, 5th is still LePage. Those guys pretty much established in those positions. Nobody near them right now battling for their spots. Seven to go for Barnier. Jason Leo is starting to make up some of the ground again. However, Eric Williams is definitely within shouting distance of Jason Leo. The Flying Tigers, the only division able to have 2 features this weekend. This is a Triple Crown event. And of course, they will run a regular event tomorrow. Matter of fact, these guys will close out the season. They run the final event of 94. Trouble in 4, Bruce Dusselblad loses the back end. And if this brings out a caution, we'll have a wild shootout to the finish. Bruce Dusselblad refires the automobile, no yellow flag. Well, Eric Williams says, okay, it's about time to battle that 8 car. He is set to do battle with Racing Jason. Leo, loose out of 4. Williams tucks to his left, and Racing Jason is going to lose a position to Williams. Eldon Hutchins brings out a caution, and that pass will not count. Eric Williams on the restart will be behind Jason Leo. As the yellow flag comes out, the rules state we go 1 lap backwards. So Eric Williams, after catching Jason Leo in a rare mistake, will have to figure another way by him because he's going to go behind him for the restart, Rob.
Are you sure, Steve Hayes, at the line that Eric Williams was in front of Jason Leo? I'm not.
Oh, you know what? You have a point. He passed him, but did he pass him after the line?
They were almost even.
Yeah, they were real close.
Sure.
Well, official scoring post the 77 is the second car right now, so I believe they're going to say, yep, he was, but it won't make a difference. He's going to go behind him anyway.
No, they are putting the 8
well,
back into the
I think they're
spot.
resetting the field now. It's going back a lap, but
yeah, and it's going to be a great restart. 45 complete, 5 to go.
Gary Wood must be a glutton for punishment. He's back on the track.
All right, we'll take a break and come back for the exciting finish in this Flying Tiger 50-lap main event. Stay with us. You're watching Motorsports Magazine from Airborne.
Back to the last completed green flag lap.
All right, 5-lap shootout in this Flying Tiger main event. A lot of subplots to watch. First of all, can Barnier hold off the 2 good cars sitting right behind him in the second row? And can Jason Leo pick up any ground on Eric Williams?
The answer to the first is yes. The answer to the second, I think, is also yes. Bonsai Bill comes back. He's only about 40 laps down. Pretty good bet. He won't finish in the top 10. Front row, Barnier in the lapped automobile of Bushy. Row 2, Leo Williams. Row 3, couple of lapped automobiles, Esseltine and Ernie Holmes. Well, if you're Eric Williams, you probably say, hey, I'll finish behind Jason. That's fine with me. Green flag is out, and that's exactly what Williams is doing. Drove to the inside to get on the back bumper of Jason. Figures if Leo makes a mistake, I'll pass him. Otherwise, I'll finish right behind him. 4 wide down the backstretch, and the 4th place car, Mark Eddy, part of it. Trouble on the middle of the backstretch. Kevin Sorrell and Bob Woods. Heavy-duty contact, but they will square things up and refire. Well, Sorrell refires. Bob Woods may bring out a caution. Nope, he refires, no caution. Now the yellow comes out. Jimmy Young, the reason. He is stuck in turn 3 and 4, not moving, and I hope everyone avoids him. He's in a position that if anyone goes wide, they're going to get the back end of him. Well, another chance here on the restart, but this time
no lap car.
No lap car, so Jason will be outside Barnier, and Eric Williams will be on his back bumper. Now this time, I think Eric Williams will be very happy to battle Jason.
All right, we picked up another completed lap. I think one of the differences, Steve Hayes, between the 0 of Barnier and the 8 of Leo is that Barnier has had a much easier time, much more successful at working the lap traffic. At one point, it looked like Leo had a shot at him, and then around came the lap traffic, and Leo really struggled through the lap cars.
You get an experienced driver leading a pack, catching lap traffic. Very rarely are they going to lose the top spot. Now, he almost did, but he's quite a veteran in behind the wheel of that 0, and it's not a situation he's going to lose a lap in lap traffic very often.
Four laps remain in this 50-lap main event. Now Jason Leo's on the outside, and Eric Williams is right behind Mark Barnier.
And right behind Williams is the 4th place car of Mark Eddy. Then we have 4 lapped automobiles before we find the 5th place automobile, the 75 of Sparky LePan. Translation, Sparky might have to settle for 5th. 4 to go, and the top 3 hold the top 3 positions on the grid for the restart. Leo did not get the jump that he wanted, but there is an opening. Leo could have tucked in between Barnier and Williams. Eric clearly not battling Jason too hard right here. Jason Leo practically pushing the leader around the turn. And some distance between Leo and Williams better be careful because the guy behind him is battling for position. Mark Eddy has a shot at the points leader. Barnier has, trouble on the backstretch. Sawyer and Drow come together, and Bill Sawyer goes for a wild spin with 2 to go. No caution yet. Chief Sergeant Butch Henry just spots the automobile. Contact between Leo and Barney are up in
Caution is
2.
out.
Caution out for the Sawyer 39. Problem developed when Sawyer and the 86 of Drown came together a lap ago, and Sawyer went for a wild spin off of the backstretch. Well, Williams clearly decided not to battle the leaders. Is he going to do it twice in a row?
Little love tap that time heading into turn 2 between Jason Leo and Mark Barnier. Leo right on the back bumper, and I'm sure they'll be watching him closely. Leo cannot make a mistake because Williams is right behind him. And it looked to me, Steve Hayes, on that last restart, Williams thought about trying to move inside Leo and said, wait a second here, I'm sitting right behind him. Let's make sure I hang on to that point lead.
Oh, I agree. That's exactly what I think Eric did. But now Eric will look over his right shoulder, and he is going to have the 4th place car right there, Mark Eddy. And Mark led early. We haven't really given a whole lot of mention, but I'll tell you, Eddy is driving a great race. 5th is still the 75 of the Pan, who's also had a pretty good run, Rob.
All right, 3 to go. We'll have a restart when we come back. "47 laps are complete. 3 laps remain. Another good restart right here.
Well, our top 4 in the positions make up the first 2 rows. So apparently the winner should come from those first 2 rows unless we have quite an altercation. Barney or Leo row 1, Williams, Eddy row 2. The names remain the same. Let's see if they have the same idea on this restart with 3 to go this time. Again, Leo does not get the jump he wants on Barnier, but that shouldn't bother Jason too much. Not many people can get a jump on that 0 car. Now Williams pulls to the inside. He says, okay, this time I'm going to battle Racing Jason. And as long as Leo and Williams battle for position, Barnier should have no problem. 2 to go. Oh, smoke out of Williams. Eric Williams, big time trouble on the 77. The Williams backers erupted. Oh, my.
What did you say?
Oh, scratch what I said some 15 seconds ago. The title picture changes drastically as the Thunder Road champ for 94 is in serious trouble to do the double duty. We don't know what is wrong with Williams. He is lucky he does not have to race the final points race till tomorrow. But we have never seen Williams develop engine problems, and all of a sudden, the racing gremlins creep up. Barnier wins it. Jason Leo, the happiest second-place finisher that you could ever imagine. 3rd to Eddy, 4th to LePan. And, you know, we have not mentioned this guy at all, but how about Tyson Drown finishing 5th?
This completely shakes up the points chase, and we now have a battle going in tomorrow as Williams ends up going, what, 1 or 2 laps down, Steve Hayes?
2, I believe 2. The Williams screamers are to my right, and they're dead silent. Eric is out of the automobile, and he is disgusted.
And he will go, I got to believe he's going to be outside of the top 10 now with this finish.
Oh, outside the top 10 for
in this race.
Oh,
yeah.
He had a 60-point lead coming in. He will not lose the points lead, I don't think. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be close going in tomorrow. Jason Leo finishes 2nd, but he is the real winner, if you know what I mean right now.
Tomorrow's final point race will be right around 20 points with 1 to go.
All right, unofficially, it's going to be about 20 points, we understand the difference. And I'll tell you what, Eric Williams, one of the hardest drivers you will find, but you know tomorrow while he's racing, this is going to be on his mind that whole 20 laps.
Well, Steve Hayes, if they would have finished as they were running on the track, I think Williams would have wrapped up the track championship here this afternoon. But what a difference a couple of laps will make.
I agree. Well, Barnier is the overall winner of this event. Jason Lear, certainly a winner in his own right, finishing 2nd, but making up a bunch of points to Williams. Mark Eddy 3rd, Sparky LePan will be 4th, and Tyson Drown will end up 5th. In a shocker, to say the least. The Lamoille Ambulance 77, one of the most, I guess you'd say, sound automobiles we've seen all year. That car never seems to break. But with 2 to go in the 50-lap Flying Tiger event in a crucial race, it looked like the engine let go. There was a lot of white smoke, Rob.
All right, a lot of work for that crew this evening as they'll have to fix that car for tomorrow's final event for the Flying Tigers. They, of course, go 20 laps on Sunday, October 2nd. All right, finishing 3rd, driver of car 51, Mark Eddy, there he is. Second, Jason Leo, driver of car number 8. Second in points. And the winner, the driver of car number 0. Every time he's been here, has been one of the fastest cars of the track. Mark Barnier in the 0. There he is, the winner of the 50-lap Flying Tiger main event. Stay with us, more racing action coming up on MotorSports Magazine from Airborne. This is a street stock semi-feature on the Speedway. 11 cars, 8 laps. Steve Hayes.
Did I hear you say a street stock semi? Now there's a rarity for you.
It's a first.
An added event in today's action. Front row, the 43, Ken Misek, the double zero of Invader Tim Martin. Row 2, Chuck Farnsworth and Andrew Carey. Row 3, Curtis LeGray, Corey Trombley. Row 4, Skip Liberty and Bob Wells. Then Rick Grenier, Terry Gunnup, and Mark Martin. 3 wide into 1, Farnsworth, the middle part of a sandwich with Misek and Carey. Tim Martin, your early leader. Here comes Corey Trombley. The heat winners, Corey Trombley and Rick Wells. And where is Rick Wells? He's not out there. Out of 4, Chuck Farnsworth powers to the lead. Tim Martin back to second, Trombley 4th. Unless Rick Wells is in the 81, and I'm not saying he is, he does not come out for the semi. Farnsworth pulling away a bit now from Trombley and Martin. Bob Wells to the inside of Martin to take over 3rd. Farnsworth very loose coming out of 4, but keeps it together. Odd thing here, neither one of our guys battling for the point championships, Dan Gibbs nor Brian Pugh, able to make it to the semi, so neither one of them can take an advantage on their counterpart. Farnsworth again a little loose coming out of 4. Trombley, Wells battling for second, unable to make any battling for that position. They're not close enough to take the top spot yet. Tell you, Farnsworth very loose. You have to wonder if he's not driving a little too deep in the turn. Trombley second, Wells 3rd, followed by Carey, Liberty, Frenier, Gunnup, Martin, LeGrave, Misek, and Mark Martin. Half down, half to go for this 75 machine. Now, Corey Trombley has been watching that 75 drip tight. He says, that's enough. 75 gets loose. Corey straightens him out and takes the lead. Corey Trombley trying to win his second event of the day. And this time, Farnsworth can't hold the back end. He'll lose it. Spins it around, refires the automobile. Comes back on the speedway, will now draw caution. Now Bob Wells battling Corey Trombley for the top spot in their qualifier. Bob Wells gave Corey Trombley all Corey could handle, but the 66 prevailed. Bob trying to turn things around this time, and right behind him in 3rd, the 99 of Andrew Carey. Again, Farnsworth loses it in 2. So it's a big-time handling problems on Farnsworth's automobile. The leaders may catch up to Farnsworth. Let's see if it plays into what happens. Moving into 4th is the 28 of Skip Liberty. He is creeped up there. Rick Frenier with a 77, currently running 5th with Gunnup behind him. 1 to go for Trombley. Andrew Carey gets loose at the back end. Liberty unable to move past him for 3rd. Farnsworth goes high in the backstretch, lets the leaders have the inside. Corey Trombley, best thing he could do is run side by side with Farnsworth so no one can pass him for the lead. He'll win it. He's 2 for 2. Bob Wells second, followed by Andrew Carey, Skip Liberty, Rick Frenier, Terry Gunnup, Kurt LeGrave, Tim Martin, Mark Martin, Ken Misek, and Chuck Farnsworth. Well, Rob, the 66 machine of Corey Trombley has been a strong contender this year. You don't see him pick up a lot of qualifiers, but he's 2 for 2 today.
2 for 2, Steve Hayes, and tomorrow with the main event for these street stocks, he'll be looking for his first Triple Crown of the season. But he's been impressive. Kept that car down on the inside, and a convincing win for Trombley in the 66.
Both times had to hold off the 81 of Bob Wells, who in his own right, an awful tough driver today. 3rd was Carey. And I'll tell you, a couple of local guys, Liberty and Frenier, worked their way to 4th and 5th respectively. And when they get a few more laps tomorrow, they may have a shot at the top spot.
All right, stay with us. More racing action coming up on Motorsports Magazine from Airborne. This is the 6th event in the Western Regional Series. They'll go 100 laps. This is not an ACT Tour race. This is a Western Regional Series race. This is the 6th one, the final one run at Airborne. 21 cars. Steve Hayes will go 100 laps.
21 machines set to do battle for 100 laps, the standard distance in any of the regional races. We can tell you that no matter where he finishes, the overall champ will be Derek Lynch. He could finish dead last and he'll clinch it. Front row, the 92 of Dave Whitlock and the 86 of Dennis Demers. 19 other automobiles behind them. We are off and racing. Trouble at the start of the race. Jeff Taylor, a big puff of smoke, but everything squares away. There is debris on the track. And that smoke may have been tire smoke. I don't know if he hit the binders or what, but that was the one car I did see smoke from. There is debris on the track, but they don't know it. Someone could cut a tire. It is Whitlock, Demers, LaPearl. 3 wide, going into 3 inside out, Metivier, Leclerc, and Lynch. Claude Leclerc, 2nd overall in the Western points. And the reason I say Derek Lynch is clinch, he came in 22 points behind Jeff Taylor's overall regional points. He received 5 for his heat win. That made the difference 17, but he gets at least 30 for finishing even last. Derek, however, in addition to the regional, would love to be the 94 ACT champ. He is 74 points behind Mike Rowe with the 300 and the final event at Oxford to go. Now you get 75 points for a win, so you figure out the math. The 92 of Petrolia, Ontario, Dave Whitlock, started first and is still running there. The guy who sat beside him in the front row, Demers, still runs 2nd. Behind him, LaPearl, Metivier, Lynch, Leclerc, Forte, Beauchamp, Knoll, and late in the top 10 early on with 5 down and 95 to go. So far, everybody behaving themselves very nicely. Earlier in the qualifier, I made mention that the 30 of Doug Stokes is from Nova Scotia. Knew I made the mistake, want to correct it. He hauls him a bit farther than that. He comes all the way from St. John's, Newfoundland. And as I said, he's been here for a couple of these 300s, and you got to take your hat off to make that kind of a trip to run the big race at the end of the Airborne season. Whitlock, your leader. His one ACT victory came just about a month ago, and it was the Vermont Milk Bowl. Caution comes out, the 91 machine of Mike Batchelder. He's going to bring out the first caution, a brand new machine. First time out for that car. He's debuting it here at Airborne today. Hopes to make the 300 tomorrow. So we've got 7 down, Rob, and so far everything's pretty much settled out pretty straight here. We have Whitcomb. Make that Whitlock and Demers in the front, but you got to figure that double zero car won't stay behind for long. He'll probably start hounding Demers soon.
Well, I think these cars are going to sit back a little bit and wait a while and let things settle out. 100 laps. The cream is more or less at the crop. The cream is at the top more or less already in this race. So I think they're going to let things settle out. The last 50 laps should really be interesting.
All right, they're going to side-by-side the automobiles. We should go green flag next time out. Quick caution, they get everything straightened up in 4 with a 91 turned around. Can't tell you there are other ACT cars here in attendance on the Saturday portion of the Fall Foliage 300 weekend, where they decided not to run the Western Regional race. We pick up action, 9 down. It is still the 92 and the 86 leading the way. One car stuck to the outside, the 9 of Yvonne Bedard. That's a 28 of Metivier, excuse me. He's stuck to the outside, everyone trying to get under him. And now Pearl gets under Demers. Dennis, loose coming off 4. And there could be a bunch of cars get under that 86. Dave Whitlock starting to pull away. Roger LaPearl in 2nd. The regional overall champ, Derek Lynch, where he finishes his 3rd. Demers able to cut back in the fourth. Behind him, Dono Forte, Layton, Metivier, Jeff Taylor, and Claude Leclerc. This is a clock-scored race. Only green flags count. There are no caution flags that will count. However, you can lose a lap under the yellow. And the 91 machine did just that when he brought out the first caution. So 91, Batchelder is one lap down. Everyone else on the lead lap early on. We mentioned that in the first 5 Western Regionals, Derek Lynch won 4 of them. Good question to be, who won the other one? That's a name pretty familiar to people around here. Guy that goes by the name Junior Henley. He only made 2 starts in this Western Regional Series, but he did win one of them. Derek Lynch starting to reel in the leader, Dave Whitlock. Third is Roger LaPearl. Dennis Demers sits fourth, and Dono Forte right on his back bumper. Trouble in 4 again, the 91 of Mike Batchelder, the caution. No caution this time, though, as he refires the automobile. Goes another lap down to the field. Contacted 2, Dono Forte and Dennis Demers. Side by side come together. Demers loses a spot to Brad Layton. Up front, it is the 92 and the 15 pulling away. Most of these guys know that they're not in the Western Regional hunt at all. They just simply want to get some lap time for the Morris 300, and a 100-lap race today can help the setup for their automobiles. Crews will take a look at the cars afterwards and say, hey, look what this did in 100 laps. I got an idea. Let's try this tomorrow. Trouble in 3. Dono Forte got together with Roger LaPearl. Forte takes third. Demers back up to fourth. Jeff Taylor worked on the low side of Roger LaPearl, and right behind Taylor, trouble between Taylor and LaPearl. They bump bumpers. Behind Taylor, also hoping to get by the doubles there on the inside, Layton, Metivier, and Leclerc. Well, the outside certainly not the place you want to be. The train will go under you in a hurry when you're racing the American-Canadian Tour. Even though Jeff Taylor was the overall points leader coming in, and even though he's in this event, you can only capture Sunoco regional points in one of the 3 regions. And Jeff Taylor, who won Region 1, obviously did not take any points for this effort. Slow automobile up in 1 of 20 is Sylvain Metivier. Everybody trying to avoid him, although Rochelle and Stokes come side by side. And they had a pretty hard shot together. Metivier retires at 28 to the pits. Lynch right on the back bumper of the 92 of Dave Whitlock. Next time by, there will be 25 down and 75 to go. Within a couple of laps, the leaders will catch up to some slower traffic. We'll have to see how that plays out. The 2 cars first to be lapped, the 49 of late model competitor Mark Lampier and the 18 of Rick LePage. 92 drifts a bit high. The 15 tries to get under and unable to do so. And the Quality Care Motorcraft 92 leads the first 26. But I'll tell you, that 15 machine of Norwood, Ontario, Derek Lynch is all over his bumper. And when you got someone who's won 4 out of 5, you got to make him the favorite. Rick LePage goes down to the 2 leaders. Third is Dono Forte, and he sits third by almost a complete straightaway in front of Dennis Sever, Jeff Taylor, and Brad Layton. If we stay green for the next 10 or 15 laps, the 2 top guys are definitely going to have some heavy-duty lap traffic to contend with. Whitlock and Lynch putting the 49er Lampier down a lap. Mark, one of the several late model guys who would like to go racing next year, the ACT for Rookie of the Year honors. Gene Paul Sear, the Region 2 champion. Another one, Lance Furno has thought about it. A couple of our current LMS guys do have tour cars, though they're not here today. It is still the 92-15 show up front. Gunnar Forte not able to make up any ground of the 2 leaders. But he's not getting caught by the car running for Demers either. One local driver that was hoping to make not only the regional show, but the 300 tomorrow, Billy Fountain, did bring a tour car, but I understand that he lost the engine in practice. Trouble A2, Lucien Russelou spins around. He had some help. It looked like a couple of cars in front of him got together, and when he hit the binders, someone took the back end from him and turned him around. No caution. And here comes the lap traffic I talked about. Tommy Rowe goes a lap down. Tommy is the son of current ACT point leader Mike Rowe. Next to go down, Martin Roy and Lucien Russelou's backup car, number 68 for this show. Martin Roy, 5th overall on the Western Regional points coming in. And I'll tell you, there's some guys not far from being lapped that are some pretty tough contenders. Donnell Teach, Steve Nolan, and Doug Stokes, the next 3. Chief Sergeant Mike Wilder really waving that pass flag as the leaders come up to some heavy-duty lap traffic. Donnell Forte has been able to close the margin, but let's remember, the same cards the leaders are negotiating, Forte will have to. Donnell Teach brings the McDonald number 80 to the inside, lets the 2 leaders by. Down, 63 to go. It is Whitlock, Lynch, Forte, Demers, Taylor, Layton, LaPearl, Beauchamp, and Leclerc. The 6th place automobile, LaPearl comes together with Beauchamp. And they are a mess up in 3. The leaders having to negotiate it. Derek Lynch could dive under Dave Whitlock here. It's a clock sword race, and I thought Lynch would try to get under him. He had the opportunity, did not do so. I was about to say that the 6th place car of Roger LaPearl was only about a dozen car lengths in front of the leader. Doesn't make any difference now as he came together with Richard Beauchamp up in turn 3. Looked like Beauchamp got under him, and LaPearl said, no, I don't want to go to the outside. And, well, you saw the results. Well, Rob, what do you think? 92 is strong, but you got to figure Derek Lynch is just waiting.
I think Lynch is doing just that, biding his time. Still early in the race, Steve Hayes. Haven't even reached the halfway point. Derek Lynch, I think, right now just sitting content, waiting for Whitlock to make a mistake.
I'll tell you, if they keep the lineup like this, the guy who benefits the most, Donnell Forte, he'll be right behind the 2 leaders. And Donnell Forte is a guy that, if you give him an inch, he'll take a 1.5 feet.
Steve Richard Beauchamp will not make it out after that last caution as he is still on pit road. Everyone else back in the event.
Getting set for the restart. Derek Lynch gets a jump on the leader. Whitlock tries to both side by side, and they are exactly side by side heading into 1. Lynch in trouble. He loses second to Donnell Forte. The lapped automobile of Martin Roy trying to get in front of him as well. He does not need to get lap cars passing him, that's for sure. Dave Whitlock looks in the rear view and sees it is now Donnell Forte his nearest challenge. Lynch back to 3rd. Demers still runs 4th. Brad Layton moves into 5th, right in front of the battle for 6th between Bedard and Taylor. Battle for the lead heats up. John Alforte clearly under the quality care forward machine of Dave Whitlock, and John Alforte will take the top spot. Even though caution laps do not count toward the 100, you can still lose a lap under caution. In other words, every lap counts, but you have to have 100 green in there somewhere. Now, Derek Lynch, I don't understand this. He may have a problem developing with the automobile because he does look loose. Forte starting to pull away from Whitlock. Third is Lynch, but he's had his hands full trying to deal with a slower automobile of Martin Roy. Well, how can you call him slower? He's staying right with Lynch. Now Lynch passes the 68. Next in line, Martin Roy, Donnell Teach, Lucien Russell, all down a lap. Brad Lane gets to the outside of Dennis Demers and takes over fourth. And Jeff Taylor moving to the outside to take fifth. So Demers getting passed on the outside. Now Demers fights back. Donnell Forte, 15 or so car lengths in front of Dave Whitlock, was about 20 in front of Lynch. Guys in fourth pack are going to have at least 3-lap automobiles to contend with, and those three guys are battling for position between themselves. So, speaking of it, one of them, Lucien Russell, in an attempt to pass his team car, spins off of turn 4. Players, no caution. Leader catching up to him and quickly. Donnell Forte forced to hit the brake. Dave Whitlock catches up a bunch of ground to him. Whitlock narrowed the gap by about half because Forte had to hit the binders to try to avoid the oncoming 66 of Russell. Lynch still third. Fourth is Layton, but fifth and sixth directly behind him, Demers and Taylor. Well, the Isolon machine got to the front, had a big lead, lost part of it when he had to slow up a bit, but now starting to pull away again. 50 laps in the record books this time by. At about this point, or maybe in a few laps, some of these drivers are going to say, okay, now it's time to show what I've got. You can't imagine, though, that Donnell Forte has much more than he's shown. He got up toward the front and got the lead pretty easily. Tommy Rowe pinning with the 20. Terrible problem playing in that machine. Well, Donnell Forte has never won an ACT race, but he's captured a lot of checkered flags in his racing career. Western Regional would certainly be a good indication heading into the Fall Foliage 300 tomorrow. In the battle for fourth and fifth, Demers has passed Brad Layton. Jeff Taylor still with that point. Seventh is Claude Leclerc. Caution on the Speedway. Trouble up in turn 1 and 2. Looks like Yvonne Bedard and Danny Knowles Jr. got together. I was looking at the other side of the track, but it's obvious that those two machine drive definitely did come in contact.
For some reason, Steve Hayes, I had an inkling to go to the back of the pack, and folks at home had a perfect view of Danny Knoll and Yvonne Bedard coming together heading into turn 2. And I think it's going to be cosmetic damage for both cars, and they'll both be able to continue. Whoa! Here's
a picture of what a tire is not supposed to look like, and Yvonne Bedard running on the rim can only do damage the more he goes like that.
All right, we'll take a break with 54 laps complete. Remind you, you're watching MotorSports Magazine from Airborne. .54 laps complete. We're set for a restart. Yvonne Bedard rejoining the field, and Danny Knoll both at the rear of the field. Steve Hayes, 54 down.
17 automobiles still on the track, 54 down, 46 to go. Donnell Forte, Dave Whitlock in the front row. Right behind him, the car sitting third, made up the ground because of the caution, Derek Lynch. And he's going to get second coming out of 4, but can he hold on to it? Mike Batchelder comes out of the pits about half a backstretch in front of the leaders, so they're going to quickly have to negotiate the 91 machine. Forte your leader, Lynch second, Whitlock third, Brad Lane moves into fourth. I believe the Auto Pro 11 of Claude Leclerc is fifth. They don't have him on the scoreboard, but I'm sure he did not lose a lap yet. Scoreboard now is corrected. The 11 is indeed fifth. I mean, Dennis Schmerz runs sixth, followed by Jeff Taylor in seventh with the 88 machine. But up front, it is a three-car battle. Forte, Lynch, and Whitlock. Richard Beauchamp, several laps down, just making his way back on the Speedway. Went in one of the early caution periods. Sylvain Métivier also rejoining the field. Sylvain also several laps down. Derek Lynch right on the back bumper of the leader. Here's that Dave Whitlock is starting to back up a little bit each lap. Oh, Layden in an attempt to get by the slower automobile at Teague almost took the 80 around. To figure with some 40 laps to go, Derek Lynch, unless Donald Forte really opens the door, probably won't pressure him too much yet. No need to go make a drastic move at this point in the race. We saw a lot of laps to work the guy over. Though he is certainly keeping the pressure on the guy in the 42. Whitlock still third, Layden up to fourth, Claude Leclerc fifth. Taylor gets by Dennis Schmerz in the battle for sixth. At this point, Donnell Forte and Derek Lynch may be thinking, hey, let's try to get ahead a little bit of Dave Whitlock and decide it between the two of us. Dave Whitlock would like those two front guys to start battling so he can kind of catch up a bit, but unable to do so right now. Sylvain Métivier back in the pits and again probably on the 28 machine. Well, it's one of those situations again. About 10 laps or so, the leaders will catch a big group of slower cars. There is debris in turn two, right about the middle of the track. Cannot tell what it is, but it appears to be a strip of some sort of metal. I would imagine that track personnel have seen it. Apparently they do not think it is a problem. I don't know if the drivers would agree with that, however. The 11 machine of Claude Leclerc currently running fifth has all he could do to hold off the challenge of one of the top stars out of the state of Maine, Jeff Taylor. Taylor with the 88 used to be a white car. Doesn't make any difference what the color is. The guy behind the wheel always seems to get the job done. Multi-time feature winner and track champion. Taylor to the inside of Leclerc, the Auto Pro 11. This time might lose a spot. The Dyer's Auto Class 88 indeed will make the pass and take over the fifth spot. And now Taylor is about 8 car lengths behind Layden, who runs in the fourth position. Well, it is time for the leaders to do their thing. This lap traffic just about ready to play into everyone's plans. First car they'll have to negotiate, Mark Lamphere. Dono Forte sets the 42 to the outside. Should have no trouble. Mark Lamphere stays mighty low on the track. Forte gets by Lamphere. Lynch has to hit the brakes a little bit as he caught him up in the turn. Next to go a lap down, the number 6 is Danny Nola Jr. out of Buffalo, New York. Danny Nola. A couple of years ago, this guy raced everything with the Tour, but boy, haven't heard his name at all this year. The two leaders are in heavy traffic, and in front of the leaders, the 9 goes around. I believe the 30 of Stokes may have taken the back end of the 91. No caution. The point I was going to make is, even though the two leaders were in some pretty hefty traffic, Dave Whitlock did not seem that he was able to make up any ground. Dono Forte now has the 30 of Stokes and the 6 of Knoll to attempt to lap. $15 of Derek Lynch, not letting Forte get away at all. Pole sitter Dave Whitlock, who led a chunk of the race early on, just does not seem to be able to reel in the top two. Caution on the Speedway, the double zero of Roger LaPearl. Trouble the front of that machine, might be just a flat tire, but he will bring out another caution. This will bunch the field up. It'll give Dave Whitlock another chance at the lead, but does not appear the 92 car has quite enough to handle either the 42 or the 15 today.
Well, Steve Hayes with 77 laps complete. The question will be, has Forte lost any speed, or will the tires go away? At this point, he's still flying. He's been able to hold off every challenge Derek Lynch has thrown his way. And this bee is still bothering me. It's on your nose. Oh, boy.
Someone doesn't like us. They're sending the bees after us on top of the tower today.
There have been kamikaze bees at us, after us today. .77 laps are complete. Don Forte leads it. Derek Lynch is second. Dave Whitlock runs third. Fourth right now is Brad Layton in the 55. Fifth is Jeff Taylor in the 88. Sixth is Claude Leclerc. Seventh, Steve Knowlton. Eighth, Dennis Demers. Those are the only cars remaining on the lead lap. Steve Hayes.
77 down, 23 to go. Derek Lynch, Dave Whitlock have another shot here at the leader, Dono Forte, but I don't know. Lynch, I think, the only one who might have a shot at him, realistically. Brad Layton out of the back bumper, Dave Whitlock, courtesy of the caution, may have a shot at third. Paul Leclerc shoots up to fourth, or scratch at fifth. Made a nice pass on Taylor, got a spot or two for that effort. And you know what? The crafty veteran in the Auto Pro 11 may have been saving his tires. And it may be time for Claude Leclerc to do some racing out there, as he made a beautiful move on that restart. It is Forte, Lynch, Whitlock, Layton, Leclerc, Taylor. They are your top six, and there are no lap machines between them. Whitlock drifts high out of two. Got to be problems with the tires. Layton gets under him. Looks like we'll have a change for third. Layton gets to the inside, and you can bet Leclerc wants to follow him through. Unable to do so, though. Trouble, Dennis Demers spins in two. All the leaders avoid him. He will lose a lap, though, to the 42 of Dono Forte. Again, a clock-scored race. So Dono Forte is going to cross the stripe, and Demers is going to have one less marking in his register.
It'll be an interesting restart now, Steve Hayes. There will be no lap cars between any of the top six automobiles on the Speedway. Dennis Demers spun. He goes a lap down, so now only 7 cars remain on the lead lap. 6 of those 7 are at the front of the racing Speedway.
Well, I may mention that maybe that 11 car saved his tires a little bit. He had a beautiful restart, Could Claude Leclerc have just a little bit left here and maybe work into the top 3 somewhere?
20 laps remaining in this regional 100 event. Stay with us. You're watching Motorsports Magazine from Airborne. All right, we're set for a restart. 80 laps complete. Scoring is checking on Roger Leperle. Perhaps he is on the lead lap. That would mean 8 cars. Steve Knowlton right now running in 7th. He is confirmed on the lead lap. Steve.
Front of the pack, all the players. The top 6 running the first 3 rows with no lap machines. Caution. Donald Forte is head out the window saying, no, guys, slow down. That was a little too big of a jump for the Isilon machine that time. They're going to line them up again. Forte Lynch row 1, Leighton Whitlock row 2, Leclerc and Taylor in row 3. Claude Leclerc came in 2nd in Western Regional points. And right behind him were Dennis Demers and Dave Whitlock. So he definitely could use getting in front of that 92. Green flag out. Derek Lynch did not get a good start. He made up 4th by the time they hit the straight. Dono Forte, 81 down, 19 to go. Leighton moves into 2nd. Whitlock 3rd. Lynch currently 4th, but Leclerc and Taylor on the inside, and they may both get him before too long. Claude moves into 4th. Lynch goes back to 5th, and Taylor going to take a shot. Derek Lynch going backwards in a hurry. Well, Dono Forte had Dave Whitlock after him. Dave couldn't do it. Had Derek Lynch for a while. Derek couldn't do it. Can Brad Leighton get anything done with a 42? First, he's going to have to catch it because Forte's starting to pull away. Going to get to the late stage of the race. About 10 car lengths between the top 2 cars, and I don't know, Leighton better start moving. Laps are dwindling down. 16 to go. And Leighton may have the same problem Whitlock does. I believe tires are the main concern for the driver of the 92 and the 55 right now. Taylor gets past the 11. Taylor up to 4th. Jordan Ortiz, Lucia, and Richelieu come together in 4th, but there's no caution as both continue. That 88 car of Jeff Taylor, he looks like he may be the car who saved the tires. Who knows? Tell you though, right now Taylor could use another caution. There will be 87 down, 13 to go. The next time Donald Forte hits a stripe. Lined up behind him in single file, Leighton, Whitlock, Taylor, Lynch, Leclerc. The only other cars on the lead lap, Roger Leperle and Steve Knowlton. Western Regional, 8th in the points. He'd only made 3 starts and had been in the top 5 on 2 of those starts. Right now, he looks to become only the 3rd winner in this regional series. Next time by, Forte will only have 10 laps to go. Battle for 2nd, Whitlock inside of Leighton. No doubt about this, Whitlock has the spot. Now all those cars from 2nd and back have to negotiate the slower car of Rick LePage. They all are able to do so. You can bet that Donald Forte's crew is on the radio saying, all right, he's about 15 car lengths behind you. Don't overdo it. There's no lap traffic in front of you. Just take it easy. And by contrast, Dave Whitlock's crew is saying, would you get into it a little bit? Speaking of getting into it, Taylor, the back end of Leighton, got the 55 loose, and they're going to be 3 wide in 1 now. Lynch backed off. Taylor takes 3rd, Lynch takes 4th, and Brad Leighton goes back to 5th. Smart driving by Derek Lynch. Knew the opening could be there and took it. A scary moment. I looked up and won. And the 42, the leader, bottomed down. There was a bunch of sparks, but I think it was just he bottomed out. Hopefully he's not breaking anything. Yeah, no sparks that time. Dave Whitlock, about 25 car lengths behind Donald Forte. Forte is catching up to slower traffic, but let's understand he only has 5 laps to go. If Forte keeps it heading straight and doesn't touch anything, I gotta imagine he'll win this one. I look to the infield. The Donald Forte crew is definitely getting excited. 3 automobiles in front of the leader. He'll have to put down another lap. Martin Roy, Mike Gottheimer, and the 49er Mark Lanfield. Forte taking the high groove around the slower traffic. 3 to go. Whitlock unable to catch him. Jeff Taylor tries to move in to take second from the 92. Derek Lynch still in contention for the top 3. 2 to go, this time for the 42. Sticks the nose under Whitlock, but he can't take a position. A white flag, this time by Forte. 15 car lengths and 3 lap cars in front of the battle for second, and it's a good one. Taylor to the inside of Whitlock. Lynch gets it back on Taylor, takes him around. In all fairness to Derek Lynch, Taylor got a bit loose, lifted, and Lynch got him and turned him. Not really intentional by Derek. And Donald Forte wins the final Western Regional event. Second to the 90 to a Whitlock, third to Lynch, fourth to Layton, Claw Leclerc rounding out the top 5. Well, Rob, an impressive run for Donald Forte, and he has the big 300 lapper tomorrow. He made himself a contender, but a tough break for main regular.
What happened to Jeff Taylor?
Well, he got on the inside of Whitlock, battling for second. Got a little loose lifted, and when he lifted, Derek Lynch was right behind him and tapped him around. Not really intentional on Derek's part, but a tough break for Taylor, who could have finished second.
All right, the top 5 finishing 5th, Claude Leclerc in the 11. 4th, the 55 of Brad Layton. Derek Lynch 3rd in the 15. 2nd to Dave Whitlock, and the winner from Laval, Quebec, in the Iselon Ford Thunderbird, Don Forte, driver of car 42. First win in the Western Regional Series, and a big win for Don Forte, who clearly will be a contender for the 300.
Oh, no doubt about it. He's always a contender wherever he races, and here at Airborne, he's had some terrific runs. But of course, with 300 laps tomorrow, the one thing you have to do is think about fuel conservation and definitely think about saving the tires.
All right, so recapping the top 3. It's Derek Lynch finishing 3rd. He wins the overall regional championship as well as the Western Regional Championship. So he'll pocket a little change. Finishing 2nd, Dave Whitlock, Quality Care Ford Thunderbird. And the winner, driver of car number 42, Donald Forte. Steve, I see Derek Lynch went over to talk to Jeff Taylor, perhaps to apologize for what happened. That's the first place Derek Lynch headed, over to talk with Jeff Taylor. You see Derek walking back.
Oh, no, I was watching it, and Derek did not intentionally take Taylor. Taylor got to the inside of Whitlock, got loose and had to lift to correct the car, and Derek was right on his bumper, could not possibly avoid the 88.
All right, there's the winner. Laval, Quebec, Don Forte. Good evening and welcome to another edition of MotorSports Magazine. Rob Knowles joined by Steve Hayes. And Steve, we're at the final weekend. Who can believe it? The season has gone by very quickly. Final weekend for the late model sportsmen, the Flying Tigers and the Street Stocks. It's all part of the fall foliage weekend, and today we're here on Saturday. Big series of races today for the Flying Tigers.
Yeah, the Flying Tigers will qualify for a Triple Crown event, a 50-lap main event for those guys. They also have qualifying and a 20-lap season-ending main event tomorrow. But those guys, I mean, they've had a great season, and Eric Williams, who won the Thunder Road Championship, hopes to do double duty here today.
Here's what's coming up on the program this evening. We will have coverage of the Flying Tiger Triple Crown 50-lap main event. And of course, when you talk about winners or top contenders for that, you have to think about Eric Williams and Jason Leo and Mark Barnier, Mike Bushy, a lot of cars that run at the top here at Airborne.
Well, I'm going to toss one more name in because we haven't seen him for about 4 weeks of racing, but Mark Lamberton finally got the 2019 back together, and you know, he was a pretty strong driver. If that car is even half as good as it was before, he could be a contender.
All right, so on top of the Flying Tiger 50-lap Triple Crown race, we'll have highlights from that. Also have highlights of the qualifying for the Flying Tigers in anticipation of that event. Also on this evening's program, it is round 6 of the Western Regional. And Steve Hayes, we will have highlights from the heats as well as the 100-lap main event for the Western Region Series.
It's pretty much a sure bet. Derek Lynch has pretty much captured not only Region 3, but the overall championship because he would get 30 points just finishing last in the main event today. So if he takes the green, you can give him the check. But, you know, we got a lot of great drivers here. Claude Leclerc is second in those points, and he could really use a victory someplace this weekend. We got a few guys who have not run Region 3 that hope to tune up the cars for the 300.
Of course, last week on MotorSports Magazine, last Thursday night, you saw highlights from the features that were run on the Fall Foliage Sunday. Features from the late model sportsmen, the Flying Tigers, and the Street Stocks. So, of course, you at home know who was victorious after watching the program last week or perhaps attending the event last week. And Steve Hayes, we're really anticipating a good field of cars for this Flying Tiger 50-lap Triple Crown Series.
Oh yeah, we expect basically all the regulars who come here on Saturday night racing throughout the '94 season, and a lot of guys from Vermont because they're done for the year. What do they have to lose? Come over here and see if they can't have a good finish and get a few bucks.
How about the Regional Series race? How many cars anticipated there?
Well, with the regional, it's tough because some of the tour guys who pulled in are not planning to run the regional, but I would anticipate a pretty good field of cars, and there's a couple of guys here who have never been here before, and I'm sure they're here not only to run the regional, but to get the 300 in.
All right, so that's what we have coming up on this evening's program of MotorSports Magazine. We have Flying Tiger action, along with action from the 6th round of the Western Regional Series put on by the American Canadian Tour. Steve, comments as we head into this evening's program.
Well, unfortunately, this is the last weekend we're here at Airborne until the opening day '95, but a lot of these guys who have had mediocre type seasons and haven't picked up their first win, they're really going to be aching because, you know, if they know they've got that good a car, they want to at least say, well, I won one, even if it was the last one of the season, and have a little bit of momentum for '95.
All right, so we'll have all of that coming up and more on MotorSports Magazine from Airborne. Stay with us. Rob Knowles, Steve Hayes, set to bring you highlights from the Saturday, October 1st Fall Foliage action, the Flying Tigers and the Western Regional. Steve Hayes, we get a shot of the crews and the cars that are headed back to the pit area here at Airborne as we have seen an outstanding card of racing on Saturday, October 1st. And first of all, let's talk about the Fall Foliage Triple Crown Series race for the Flying Tigers 50-lap main event. Mark Barnier, fastest car on the track, and he pulls away the victory.
No doubt about it. The Zero car, nobody could deal with him today. Jason Leo had a lot of shots, but it was the Zero Barnier, by far the best automobile on the day. But really, you got to figure Eric Williams. I mean, that's a lot of heartbreak. He was battling for second, didn't really have to, and the engine went way on him.
Well, Eric Williams, unfortunately, probably would have guaranteed a championship with a third-place finish. Now he's going to have to work real hard to make sure he finishes strong on the Flying Tiger final event to be held on Sunday, October 2nd. Of course, you've already seen that program last week here on MotorSports Magazine. As we film the close, we don't know what's going to happen, but you at home saw it last week on MotorSports Magazine. So, of course, you know what happened. But a lot of good runs for some of those drivers. Mark Eddy had a shot at the top spot.
Mark Eddy had a great run. He led a little early on, and his only problem was once those other guys got in front of him, he just couldn't quite keep up with them. Now, how about Tyson Drown with a 5th place finish? We hadn't mentioned him a lot, but, you know, he was there all day long, and he got a 5th for his efforts.
All right, so as always, whenever the Flying Tigers are on the card, let's put on a great show every single week. Very competitive racing, very close racing. And what can you say? Flying Tigers, one of the best divisions really in the area.
Well, no doubt about it. That's many weeks we usually say that they put on the best race of the night. And the thing is, in that division, even though you've got those 3 or 4 names that always seem to get toward the front, you always seem to every now and then get a surprise winner in there. And that's what makes it exciting. You get this one guy who's really hooked up, and he can beat all those big names.
And then we saw the Western Regional race, race number 6. And the winner in that race, Don Forte, car number 42 from Laval, Quebec, and a very strong run for that young driver from the province of Quebec.
Well, he had 3 or 4 different drivers at different times during the run of that 100-lap main event take a shot at him. The thing that impressed me is when someone gave him any heat, he just simply pulled away. And that really said that, that car is hooked up. And, of course, with the 300 tomorrow, he's got to be a little more cautious, with fuel and especially tires. But he definitely made himself someplace near the top of the list as a contender to win it.
Second place, Dave Whitlock in car number 92. And Whitlock, along with third place finisher Derek Lynch and Don Forte, 3 cars that the people here at Airborne will be watching, no doubt, tomorrow, October 2nd, the Fall Foliage 300.
Especially Derek Lynch. He comes into the Fall Foliage 300, I believe, about 74 points behind Mike Rowe's lead. And with 2 races to go, basically, he has to finish way up at the front, and Mike Rowe has to have a terrible couple of races. Of course, when they leave here, the last event is at Oxford, and Mike Rowe's the king of that place. He's won everything at Oxford.
All right, so we hope you've enjoyed tonight's racing program from Airborne. Again, coverage of the Flying Tiger Triple Crown 50 along with the Western Regional round number 6 race run here at Airborne, 100 lap. The winner, Don Forte. Steve Hayes, this is our final program from Airborne on the season. We do have other action coming up later this year on MotorSports Magazine, as Rick Knowles will return to MotorSports Magazine as he is headed to the Oktoberfest down at the Lee Speedway, and we have plans to cover the many diverse divisions that they will be running on Oktoberfest weekend down at Lee USA Speedway. My only advice to Rick is to take many coats.
A lot of coats. Even this weekend here at the beginning of October, we're freezing up on top of the towers, so you can imagine Oktoberfest, it'll get a little chilly for them.
What do you mean? It's not that bad. Come on, you're with the excess that you have on your frame, you should be warm.
I'm glad this is the last show. I don't have to put up with this for all winter.
No, you're not glad this is the last show. So Rick will be headed to Lee USA. Actually, I remember seeing tape from Lee USA several years ago. It was actually snowing on one of those Oktoberfest races. I think Rick was there.
He probably was. Wherever he goes, bad weather follows him. This is the first time in the 5-year history of the 300 we haven't rained on Saturday, and with Rick here announcing, I don't know how we managed that.
Rick, why don't you zoom in on him real close or something? Do you have a comment, Rick?
Bad weather may follow me, but flies follow Steve Hayes.
All right, well, this program is quickly digressing, so we'll wrap things up. Again, the final show from Airborne in the 1994 season. Look in the Press Republican for directions regarding that final program from Lee USA and the Oktoberfest weekend. Steve, it's been fun. I really enjoyed this season.
Oh, it's been great. It's always terrible when we run the last race because we have to sit through all winter, but anticipating the 95 season and hopefully, and a lot to be sold this winter, maybe a couple of tracks next year for MotorSports Magazine.
That would be nice, and who knows, maybe we'll be able to find out some more information on that and perhaps put a show together. And again, if we do something like that, then we'll run something in the Press Republican, look for it in the sports shorts section. Hopefully, Falcon Cable will be able to take care of us and get it on. For Steve Hayes, this is Rob Knowles. Thanks to all the competitors here at Airborne. We've enjoyed the season, and we hope you've enjoyed it at home as well. We'll see you in 1995, everybody.